circumstances have changed, then we'll never be the same again. God knows that we've tried and we lied through our teeth. By the light of day, we'll be far away from here. Don't even know just where we could learn to fly or sail a boat. Baby, maybe someday. Baby, maybe someday. This time next year we'll be dancing in the clear. This time next year we'll be very far from here. I hope.
Are you ready?
Clear.
It's time for a live stream.
You are privileged AF.
It's important to remember that.
It's okay to cry.
And it's also common to experience.
Deep belly laughs.
Hi, I'm Keya.
Why does this sound cold every second?
If you like jokes about scams, spirituality, and toxic positivity,
It's so quantum.
This is actually legit.
it's time to tune into.
The mango frequency.
Wait, what?
So let's dive right in.
Got my celery juice right here.
I am not emotionally stable.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. I hope you are wearing your white outfits today. And you are in your whitest room in your home. Because we are going to clear and cleanse all of the demons from our booties, okay? If you had eggs this week, we are going to expel through vibes, okay? We need to make sure that we are healthy and whole before we listen to this podcast, okay?
Nobody blames the egg.
Amen, medical medium. Amen. That's what I'm saying. So everyone, if you're, just tuning in, you're on the couch all comfy, immediately go to the closet. We need to all be in uniform. This is a white, oh God, just kidding. Don't clip that out. White only event. This is a P. Diddy white party, okay? That's what I meant to say. I don't want them to be taken out of context, okay? You have to wear your white prison sweatshirt. Now, is this a sweatshirt that is just white? No. It is a shirt that I'm wearing backwards because the effect is better with just a blank background. Anyways, welcome. Thanks for joining. Thank you. So as promised, I will admit I'm taking a little bit of an easy way out because I'm going to a wedding on Friday morning. So the week is a little jam-packed. Got to finish my work. Got to get all those things done, buy a dress, do all the errands, that chestnut. So I wanted to stick with what I know best. And that is the world of Heidi Powell and Rachel Hollis. And we wanted to watch this anyways, and I did want to watch this video. And we're going to add a new member into the Hollisville universe, the Hollisverse, named Keira. Now, she was mentioned at the end of last stream, but I am just curious about Keira and what she has to say. And so Heidi basically interviews her on her second episode of the podcast. So that's what we're going to watch today. And it'll just be a chill, fun vibe, okay? And then we'll see how it goes from there. Maybe we'll go down the Keira rabbit hole. Maybe we'll do something else. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Amy. Welcome to Amy. And I have this to say, Amy, to you for joining the membership.
You're not Mel Robbins. You'll never be Mel Robbins.
Bitch. Okay, sorry. Will you be Mel Robbins, Amy?
No.
Well, the tribe has spoken, as the guy in Survivor says. So anyways, thank you for being here. One of my goals, just so everyone knows, one of my goals on Instagram is to start to play the clips in which all of these sound bites came from, because I save all the streams. Well, it's on YouTube, obviously, but I save the streams too to my hard drive, and I can go back and like find the clips in which the sound bites originated and put that on, maybe I can put on shorts too, but I'll put it on Instagram in case you're wondering about where these, clips came from. Sometimes I forget too, like where these originated from. You can go back and look and feel like you're a part of the whole process. Cause I know sometimes like I saw a bunch of comments like, where's the mango frequency? Where does that come from? And that was like a random stream, from a year ago, and it's hard to find. So I'm going to point people in the right direction. And here you go. Speaking of.
The mango frequency.
There you go. That was a fun stream. All right. So just to catch everybody up, let's see. Let's go here. Oh, this is the video that you're watching now. Okay. This is Heidi Powell. She is a famous, she'll tell us who she is. Okay. Heidi, who are you? She's a mama of 4. Actually, she's a mama X4. She 4X'd her life. She didn't get to the 10X. She's a New York Times best-selling author, but actually I don't think that's accurate. She's ABC's EWL. She's Abzul TV. That means ABC's Extreme Weight Loss show, and that's a television. She's a body plus mind plus self-love coach, all love, at transform.hq, which I thought she was no longer a part of, but maybe she still is. And there's a lovely pill, which I guess is supposed to be a supplement for you, plus Show Up app. And that is the app in which she does workouts for you to model. And then it says, get my daily workouts here. So that is her podcast, which I don't think has daily workouts. So she probably needs to switch this up. So Heidi, as your social media critiquer, just, update this one real quick. Just to say, listen to me in my lane. Listen to me talking about staying in my lane. So here's the preview of this episode. And I have not watched this yet, I don't think. But this is a very odd... She looks like she's been caught on a security camera and not chosen this still frame for a reason. But maybe, no, you can choose on Instagram. I don't know why she chose this. It's a little bit weird, but here we go. And this says, did you know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now? What? I think I'm supposed to be in a multi-million-dollar mansion right now, so I think I'm in the wrong place, actually, Heidi. This very minute... Oh, no, I did not know that. A good friend told me that recently, and it hit hard. Because I felt like the world needed me to be doing something, teaching. But to be honest, although I love it, I knew in my heart that teaching is not the space I need to be in right now. Instead, I feel like my calling right now is to love you. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Do I like that?
No.
I just feel like you don't know any of us. It's a very parasocial bullshit thing to say, and it doesn't mean anything. So instead, I feel like my calling right now is to, tell the world my trauma. Fine. But that's not what love is to me, especially when you don't see me physically ever on your end. I think that that's not necessarily true. You don't have to physically see someone to love them, but at least you need to know who I am or have some experience or get some feedback from me, in which I cannot do that via the internet with her. Okay, so every single one of you, no matter what, Okay, so all the people from the prison that are writing into her, they're getting the love too. And as my friend reminded me, when I love you, you will be taught through what I'm sharing. Okay, so here's the spin. Here's the spinning of the Heidi, you're not in a place to be teaching people to love themselves. Hence what we just read. Body, mind, and self-love coach. Usually coaches are there to coach you, but you know, I guess we're living in a parallel universe.
I'm not in a place
Which is the Hollisverse. So you can not be a teacher by teaching people what not to do.
They're going to be dropping some really powerful, amazing, life-changing shiz.
But not Heidi. She'll be dropping something. We don't know what it is. Okay, so as my friend reminded me, when I love you, you will be taught through what I'm sharing. That's how I learned math as well. My teacher's like, I love you. And I was like, E = MC squared. Sign me up for Harvard, baby. Okay. Episode 2 of my new podcast, Heidi's Lane with Heidi Powell, is out now. So head on over to wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and let's love and learn together. Okay. So I guess we are learning then? ? Here's the preview and then we're going to watch it.
to teach, but I'm more than happy to
How's the
share.
volume?
And that's something I've said over and over on social recently is like, hey, I can't teach. I choose not to teach, but I'm happy to share. And if my sharing helps, great. And Jack, when he actually emailed back and just said,
Jack?
I love you. And I would love to have you on because, you know, we have some similarities. So we got on the podcast and I don't remember if we were recording or not. So I don't know what made the episode, but he had said, hey, I want to let you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be in every way. And he said, and I believe your sharing is going to be the most impactful thing that you do. And he said, I heard a quote.
Sounds like a slot machine. I think literally, like they say, you know, cell phones are addictive. Obviously, I'm totally addicted to my social media and scrolling through Instagram all day, 100%. I can't lie. But they say it's like, it's like a casino where you're getting hit, you know, dopamine hits every so often, and it's just irregular, and that's what really gets you addicted to it. And now I feel like they're adding in literal casino slot machine sounds to these videos purposely to be like, I need to keep watching. That's how I feel.
Once, not long ago, that went something like, I'm not here to teach you. I'm here to love you. And through my love, you will be taught. And that resonates with me. I'm not here to teach you. I am actually here to love you. And I think that
I'm missing the point. Like, how are you loving us by talking about your life and Dave's death and all that? Like, again, I'm just voyeuristically interested in this topic. So I'm all for it. Like, I want to hear everything. Tell me, please. But I'm not under some, you know, delusion, I guess is the word of the week, where I think I'm going to learn to love myself or be loved by hearing someone else talk about their trauma. Maybe. But it is interesting given her past of being a transformation coach and God anointing her to run this podcast and her at the helm. I mean, there is an insinuation at the very least of she is an authority figure on the topics in which she speaks of. Now, I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think she's selling anything as of right now other than her workout app. That seems to be what she's doing. And then like her, you know, sponsorships, which is just typical influencer stuff. So if she had a well, I guess she's got courses on her website, I'm assuming still. She's got courses and things. So but I guess that's old material. I don't know. There's definitely, I think I'll take her word for it. Okay, she's not trying to tell us how to live our life, but I think wink, wink, nod, nod, you can hire her in some ways to teach you how to do life better or whatever. So I'm not totally buying this. I think she just wants to cop out a little bit of like, I'm not telling anyone what to do here. I'm just talking about myself. Anyways, okay.
love transforms. I'm not in a place.
Okay, so she's got her own Jack, by the way.
Jack.
But I think she means Jack Canfield, who I have also met. I don't know where that photo is right now. I used to have it on my desktop, but Jack Canfield is the guy who started Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he's also involved in self-help and personal development and has done a bunch of stuff. I met him through when I was working as a videographer during the pandemic. And I will say also, just to give him a plus in my book, Jack Canfield was very into social distancing, and he was very into everyone stay away from me. So he took a photo, but there was like a big gap in between. And everyone else at that conference that I was at was not into social distancing and was not into believing the pandemic was real. So I appreciated that at least he was acknowledging that we should be following these guidelines. Now, I'm saying we, as in the attendees of the group. I was wearing my mask, okay? Just for the record. Okay. And then again, to remind everyone who she's speaking to, is this woman, Keira Brinton, who's a writing coach and publisher. And she is a public figure, apparently. And this is what her bio says. I help authors write their books fast and change the world with their message. Grab your free ticket to my live writing workshop, which has already passed. Yeah, that was last Tuesday. And she is the owner of Joan of Arc Publishing. And so I went to her website last time. Okay, this is like her, let's just see what this is. Author. No artificial intelligence. Okay.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks.
Because if you're here, it's because you have a pull inside of your heart to go out and make a difference in the world. Whether that is to write your book, maybe it's to create a podcast, create courses, speak on stages, whatever it is, you know you are here to change the world.
She exclusively wears the color white, apparently. And I think that's on purpose. She's officially in the YouTuber apology outfit 24/7. So yeah, interesting choice. Okay, as a videographer, the blue tones are a little harsh, I will say, especially in a white outfit with white hair. I would have done a little warmer vibes, but you know, hey, that's an armchair video editor critique. Here you go.
There are people who need your message right here, right now. And you are the one who has been chosen to give that message. But there are hurdles, there are blocks that get in the way of us truly embodying our role as a leader and using our gifts. I know the fear that gets in the way. I know how scary it is to be seen, to be heard. But it is so imperative.
I wonder what book she's written that makes her qualified to help others write their books fast and change the world. What's your book? Tell me more.
You are needed. This message inside of you is needed. And we don't have time. Humanity needs you. So, as a book medium, I help.
As a book medium. God, these titles of people's careers are so funny to me. Someone call Gabby Bernstein. This lady's trying to take your job. Book medium. Okay, what in the fuck does that mean? Please tell me. I'm assuming it means she thinks of something and then writes it down, and that's being a medium.
People activate creations inside of them. And that comes out in books, and it also comes out in their podcasts and their courses and their speaking, because it's all the same thing. It's your message activated in creation. And I'm going to help you do this in a live workshop. Yes, we will be working together live. I am hosting a live workshop, one where you will get on a Zoom call with other people and me. I will teach you my trusted ways of clearing out the fear that's in the way of you sharing your message, of getting.
So this sounds totally 100% exactly what Heidi was recounting as her personal, this is my good friend that I just happen to know, and she just randomly told me that I have to do this podcast. This sounds like this lady this is her entire pitch to people to, in my opinion, scam might not be a strong word, but shove, hot air up someone's ass at the very least. Like, what makes anyone qualified to write a book? What's going to make them successful? You don't know. you could have a great story or have a great writing style or not. Like, you can't just be like, everyone's destined for a bestseller. It's just not true. So this person's going to, tell you whatever you want to hear. So you keep paying her is what it seems like her job is.
Totally clear on what it is that you are here to create, and then blasting out the writer's block that stands in the way of your creation.
Are you getting downloads right now? Because it seems like you're unsure about what you're saying a little bit here.
Whether you're writing a book, a podcast, you're speaking on stage, you must be in the flow of writing. And when you hit writer's block, it shuts down everything. I have a way that will help you clear that out so that you're always in flow state, that you're always in your deepest purpose with your message, and that you stand firmly in the leader that you are. So I'm inviting you to come to this free live workshop with
To blast off into book mediumship.
me. Just click the link below to claim your spot. There are limited spots, so make sure you get one so that I can.
There's 7 billion openings. You better get one, girlies.
Help you clear the path, step forward as the leader that you are, and share the message that is deep within your heart. Because, my friend, it is time. It is time for you to be.
This is what Heidi had to hear on the phone when Heidi's like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I don't want to do this podcast anymore. It actually seems like a really bad idea and I should probably get into therapy. She's like, humanity must be saved. You're running out of time. You're basically dying as we speak. Yeah, I'm on to this lady.
Be unshackled and unleashed in your creativity. I hope to see you there.
I hope to see you there. Okay, so that's her thing. Authentic author, no artificial intelligence. I don't get that part. I feel like she is using artificial intelligence or something because we're talking about it specifically. Oh, okay, I guess not. So it says, in the era of AI, many people are allowing computer-generated systems to write their books. This is a tragedy. I believe it is in the raw power of the human soul that crafts the stories that change the world. AI can never replace your soul, and it is your soul, your heart, your trauma, and your humanity that people are craving. Now, I agree. I think we shouldn't use AI to write books. That seems like a cop-out, and I do like literature and true stories. So I'm on board. I'm signing up. Oh, wait, it's already passed. Damn it. Well, I guess I'll never know what the secret was. What? I never add the sad music. Damn it. Oh, well, next week. Okay. So that's Keira. Now, that's not her full website. Her full website is somewhere. She's got everyone's got 20 websites when you run a scam business. I mean, when you run a business. She's got, you got the book writing workshop website. You got your personal website. You have your publishing website. You got a bunch of stuff. And there's so many words. There's always so many words. There's so many words. But there was one thing she said. She's like a visionary. She's like, a goddess. She says a lot of different things about herself. And so we'll see if that's all true. Let me see. Where's her actual website? Here it is. She's authentic, insightful, and empowering. And she wears white. She's wearing orange or green underneath. She changed. She's not the same person anymore. She wore a green shirt. She's really changed over time. There's one thing that I wanted to point out that she says. Here's the channeled books and authors. This is what stood out to me. Witness the match. So this is what her offerings are. You can witness the magic of co-creating stories as Keira channels books with new authors, infusing them with authenticity and purpose. So where is this channel coming from? Directly from God? Okay, so I'm understanding now where Heidi Powell is getting her information from. Because this all sounds like what Heidi's saying, like, oh, this happened to me. This is her pitch. Keira's exact business model. Convince vulnerable people to pay me to convince them that what they want to do is what the world needs. Got it. Okay, so here we go. This is called My Unedited Journey, Embracing Imperfections and Finding Healing Through Sharing. Okay, this has 811 views, so it's hot piping tea. It says, in this episode, I'm peeling back the layers, showing the unglamorous and the utterly human. It's like, to me, Heidi, like no one thought for a gosh darn second that you were not a human. Okay, we were very aware of your humanness. And all of our humanness is
Humans.
okay. So here we go. Let's begin. Let me know how the sound is. Hey, Heidi Lane with Heidi Powell. Heart. Get your
So
white
welcome
shirt
to
out.
episode 2 of Heidi's Lane.
And are we noticing that Heidi is now also wearing white in all of her videos? I never noticed this before, but this is an intro. So this is like a different day, most likely, than the actual interview day. Actually, it is because she's previewing it and saying, oh, this happened months ago. But now she's wearing all white, everything. Weird.
What you're about to listen to might seem out of order if you listened to episode 1 last.
Heidi, what's on your hand? She's got some writing on her hand. Hold on. Stand by.
Seem out of order if you
I can't read it. It's too blurry. What could there possibly be on here that we need? Like this intro, I have watched this intro already. It's just like, hey, this is my podcast. This is out of order. And Shirley went through this whole thing. I just wonder what that says. You are not Mel Robbins. Just reminding her constantly. And it's going to pop up in a second. Thank you, Kelsey Powell. Kelsey Powell says, haven't been here live in a while, but stoked to see you all. Well, thank you for joining. Welcome. And this is what we say to you, Kelsey.
back to the swallowing.
And also, I feel like this is very relevant to what we're about to see.
I have a new epiphany. I have a new revelation every single time.
Same. And I hope you all do too while watching at home. You have new revelations every single second during these live streams. And also,
I speak Spanish pretty well. Pinchos.
that's just a bonus for you, Kelsey. Thank you so much. Okay, back to it. We'll never know what her hand says, I guess. Or unless it's just like little, like how many days she's been in the house. Just like a little like tally mark. Okay, sorry.
You listened to episode 1 last week. If you recall from episode 1, I explained to you that I had started production of this podcast months ago. And for reasons that I talked about last episode, it didn't go out. However, the 4 or 5 episodes that I recorded were actually very real and raw and vulnerable. And they're going to give you a peek into how this podcast came about, how it started, how it was named. There's a lot that
I looked at my birth certificate and I said, that sounds like a podcast name if I do say so myself. I will say I'll give her 2 big pieces of positivity here. Okay. So everyone applaud me for how empathetic. I am an empath after all. Okay. Thank you. Whew. Number 1. Good mic. I agree. The microphone, thank you. I appreciate the effort. She's got an XLR cord, which is like the 3-pronged audio source. A+ from me. That's perfect. So I really do appreciate her investing finally in a microphone. Number 2, the angle's better. I'm not staring at her crotch the entire time. I feel like this is a much more healthy angle for everyone involved. And even a 3 bonus, her hair looks really good. And I would love to have curly hair like that. So hair tutorial, please. I'm desperate. Okay.
No.
All right. Back to it. That's all you're getting, Heidi. 3 positives, and just now it's just going to be hellfire from now on. Okay, sorry.
we talk about in this upcoming episode.
Thank you,
Actually, you're
Kelsey.
about to listen to it. So yeah, enjoy this. Enjoy this real, raw, vulnerable look at how it all began. Enjoy.
Thought we did that last week.
I
already.
don't know what I'm doing. And I think it's super important that through this podcast journey, you guys get to see all the mess ups, all the parts that are typically edit it out. All the things that may be on social media, I would edit out so that, there's time constrictions on social media, right? There's like, I have a minute to do a story.
Even her nails
and so
are white.
you're forced to edit out so that it can all fit. But I also think it's super important that you guys have a behind the wall view of who I really am, what I'm really about. And I say that because I want you to know that it's not always beautiful. In fact, it's not. It's really, really messy and it's super chaotic. And I have so many imperfections. I'm sure a lot of them are apparent. And I love to show that because if I, in my messiness and in my chaos, can still...
I guess. I don't know. I'm all about showing the real, I guess, of someone's life and not lying. Like Rachel Hollis is like, I think she hides, a lot more than Heidi does. But I don't think just being chaotic for the sake of being chaotic or showing the chaos is that helpful, depending. Just like my life is crazy. It's like you feel badly for the person. You're like, okay, well, you're going to work on it or what? Like it's sort of been years of displaying the chaos. I don't know. I feel like I felt worse for her than feeling like, oh, this is so great and raw. It's like, ooh, it's kind of like, I feel badly. That's a lot of pressure to be under. A lot of the chaos I think is stressful. Stresses me out watching it. Philly turned Texan. Thank you so much. Philly turned Texan. It's going to pop up in a moment. Philly turned Texan says, I had never heard of Heidi or Rachel or Ed before finding your content, and I'm so glad this was my introduction. Knowing there's anti-self-help going on simultaneously is good for the soul. Is it chicken soup for the soul? Because if so, Heidi's got a friend for you named Jack.
Jack.
And one more thing I'll give Heidi credit for. 4 things. Can you believe it? Her voice is much more tolerable these days. She talks like a normal person. Before, when she was sort of doing all those live streams and doing that Get Fit with Heidi, it was like, you guys, oh my God. Like just like the scream talking and the over the top. I like her calmer persona much better. So thank you, Philly turned Texan. I appreciate that. And welcome to the crew. And I say,
You are privileged AF.
and I am also privileged that you're here as well. And also, if you don't agree,
Unfollow me.
and
Boofing.
it's just a bonus. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to shut up now and watch it. Here we go.
Create and find happiness and joy and appreciate and love the life that I live and accomplish things that maybe you think you can't, right? If I can do it with this messiness and have you see it, my hope is that it will give you hope that you can too.
Okay, I lied. I gotta stop it again. This is just an excuse, I think, and that's like the lowest level excuse of why does this podcast exist? Because I'm gonna share about my life so you can maybe pick up something. It's just a reason to talk incessantly about yourself. That's it. That's what the reason is. And that's a fine reason, but it's not gonna actually help anybody, I don't think.
What I was saying is I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know why I'm doing this.
For God. Because he forced me.
A podcast is a thing that I wanted to do for years. And I'm going to get into this in a little bit. I feel like at this point in my life, the why has shifted quite a bit. And it's more for healing myself than it is for anything else, healing me first. And consequently healing any of the listeners that might relate to any specific parts of my journey.
Come here.
I actually have a guest that I'm going to be bringing on because there are so many nerves in this that I think it's okay to have a security blankie. Like literally I have one in front of me and I brought my good friend, Keira, come on in.
It's okay
because
to
I
cry.
want this to feel like a conversation. I want every podcast episode that I do. Hi, here she is. I want every podcast episode that I do to feel like a conversation that I'm having with you, but I want everyone listening to feel like I'm also having a conversation with them. I may look at you, I may not. But I think it's important. And here's the thing. Hi, Keira.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this.
Let
with
me get cozy.
Yeah, let's get cozy.
Let's get cozy here.
So the reason why I wanted you.
Tell me about your first kiss. Woohoo! Who do you have a crush on? Do you like Jake or do you like Josh? Oh my God, I knew it. Okay, sorry.
To do this with me
Yeah.
is for it's a handful of things, but first and foremost, this girl I've known her for how many years now? We were 19.
I was 19.
How old are we?
I'm 40 now. So
I'm
that's
41.
like 21 years.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
We've known each other. So our ex-husbands, my first ex-husband and her ex-husband were actually friends in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Keira and I knew each other and were friends with each other. I mean, lifetimes ago.
I know. I mean, I lived in my first condo was yours. I bought it from you.
Oh, that's right. I saw at like 19. I was always a hustler.
You
I forget about this.
You were. I bought our first condo was yours.
That's right. It was the first one that I bought from my grandpa who gave me a killer deal.
Yeah.
I hustled my grandpa out of money. I said, Grandpa, you don't need a reverse mortgage. You can just live on the streets. I hustled my gramps. My grandpa was stupid. He sold me his house at 19. That is pretty crazy. Okay, so we're getting an insight into some privilege here that Heidi had her own condo at 19 years old. Is that relatable?
No.
Not very relatable to me there.
I want to be relatable.
Okay, so Keira bought her condo. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I was so wrong. I thought, oh, they just met like 6 months ago. I was so wrong. These people go way back. So shame on me. Shame. I was wrong in the last stream.
Yeah. And then I sold it to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, our paths have danced back and forth for a long time.
Isn't it? It's crazy to think of. I mean, that's a whole
Property
separate
rights.
podcast episode, who we were back in 2001 or whatever year that was.
Yeah.
Like we were completely different people.
Yeah.
And what's so cool about Keira is that every fork in my road, like between my first marriage and my second, and then between my second and Dave, and then again after Dave, at every single incremental fork in my road, Keira.
It sounds like every time Heidi was single for a second, she came around, probably because she thought she was vulnerable. And if her job is to channel books for the population of humanity, whatever, she's probably like, hey girl, I just popping right in here. Do you want to sell some Arbonne? Do you want me to channel a book for you? I'm here for you. Talk in 6 years when you get divorced again. Like, that's the forks in the road seem to be one thing. She becomes single. So I'm suspicious.
Magically showed up. I mean this, Keira, and I've said this to you, and I'll say it again. You have been
I'm suspect.
a lighthouse for me. And it's almost like if I were to picture, on the train tracks, how when there is like a fork in the, I wish I had the word. I should have researched this ahead of time. But how there's that thing that like the director,
the
like
pike?
Is that what it is?
Word pike
it's the thing where there's a fork, and one of the things like directs you one way. You are that thing for me.
Wow.
And I'm forever grateful because.
But didn't she steer her wrong like 3 times? Because the first marriage, the second marriage, Dave, that all sort of ended badly. So if she steered her there, isn't that kind of a red flag or what?
This situation is a red flag.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that admission, but I could see this as a negative, Heidi.
As every fork in the road or every huge shift in my life has come with options that could have either made me or broken me, right? Made me a better person and brought me toward my highest self, or torn me down.
Yeah.
And you have been such a beautiful, open, accepting, non-judgmental,
Keep it coming.
safe place for me. And yeah, I mean, and like, without going into too much detail, you were the person who led me to the place where after my first divorce, I remember I was just a mess. And you're like, I really think you need to go to this thing called Landmark. I actually started seeing your dad as a therapist. Therapy's been a huge part of my life.
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there. But before we do, I want to say thank you to KT. Thank you, KT. KT says she's getting a Ruby Frank and Jody Hildebrand vibe. Yes, this could be Ruby and Jody from like 20 years ago doing this podcast talking. At least they're not talking about parenting yet, thankfully. They're talking about themselves and not giving advice like, you know, call the psych ward. Hold on.
Call the police. Call the psych ward.
Is that a good impersonation? Call the psych ward.
She looks scary.
Yeah. I agree, Katie. I think that's a very good insight. And for that, I say,
Silly, dumb, incapable.
yeah. All those things and more. Okay. Thank you. So Landmark, someone sent me a ton of information like a year ago about it, and I need to look into it more. I started reading it and it was like so much stuff, and I was like, I'm going to do this later. And then I got distracted and never went back to it. But basically my understanding of Landmark is like a Tony Robbins-esque type, self-help type, personal development type. And let's take a quick second just to look at like their website. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but it is an important thing that I think it's come up a bunch, especially with Heidi and she's going to talk about it in a second, but that's where she met Chris Powell. And Chris Powell sort of has a self-help, edge to him. I think he stops before it gets to be like cringe and to be like Heidi and Dave level, but he was still attracted to this type of stuff, and they met there because they both brought their like bodybuilder lunches. Oh, Rachel, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. I'm sorry I have not gone through more of the documents. I'll go back and read. I promise you. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. But yeah, and we need to like digest all of this. But basically, okay, it's like a forum. Let's just watch this video real quick and we'll see. Oh God, this looks scary. Let's see. It's giving like Scientology meets Tony Robbins vibes a little bit.
Go to the Landmark Forum.
And I'm Siobhan, and I'm a graduate of the Landmark Forum too.
And we're here to talk to you about Landmark and its flagship program.
Now, you may be wondering why we're talking to you from a coffee shop, but think about the most important conversations you've ever had in life. They may have occurred while sitting with a friend or family member over a cup of coffee. And if they were talking about the Landmark Forum, they'd be sharing the amazing breakthroughs they've had in their lives and what is now possible.
Now, for me, the Landmark Forum was a powerful, incredible breakthrough weekend. And the program just completely changed my life and my family's life.
You may not know it, but
they both look like they're from a Lifetime movie. They both look like they are like or a Hallmark, like they're the best friends of the main characters, like of the Christmas tree farm story. I don't know why.
Landmark offers its programs in over 20 countries around the world, and over 94% of people surveyed agreed that the Landmark Forum had made a lasting and profound difference in their lives. That's impressive, but what really matters is what you can get out of the Landmark Forum.
The Landmark Forum is an innovative program that makes a real and lasting difference. We wanted to be certain that we really answer the
This is also Nexium vibes also.
questions that are important to you. So let's start by visiting a few places around the world where Landmark offers its courses and find out from people just like you what questions they might have.
Oh God, I get to choose? Wow. Who participates? Let's just go. What is it?
So what's this course all about?
What sort of teaching strategies do you use?
What's the philosophy underneath?
How does it work and how do you know?
How long is this course going to take? What will I actually be doing in the course? What will
That's what I want to know. How long is this course going to take?
I learn step by step? Those are the things that I want to know.
As you can tell, people want to know, what is this program?
Yeah.
And how does it work?
Get to it. Come on. You're wasting my time.
Let's ask Dr. Joe DiMaggio, Landmark's Vice President of Research, Design, and Development.
The Joe DiMaggio reincarnated to lead the Landmark, whatever this is, Landmark Forum? Oh, wow.
But at the most basic level, you could talk about the forum as simply a 3-day program, a cutting-edge program designed to leave people with breakthroughs in their effectiveness in life and their overall quality of life. In the forum, we employ a discipline of transformational learning. Informational learning is based on adding more information and more knowledge to what people already know.
We want people to remain dumb.
In contrast, our transformational learning methodology gives people an awareness of the basic structures in which they know, think, and act from in their lives, and allows the participants to uncover and examine blind spots that limit all of us from what's really possible in the different areas of our lives that are important to us. People find themselves able to think and act beyond existing limits and views. With this new awareness comes dramatic elevations in people's performance, new possibilities for operating in life, and a greater sense of power, freedom, self-expression.
Yeah, this sounds sketchy as frick. I don't know. Like, what is this? They had to go around the world to ask people, to ask us, what is it? And we're not going to tell them because we don't know. You come to so it's a 3-day event and it'll change your life, but not through information, through transformation. How? Just show up.
And peace of mind. There are as many results available in the forum as there are people who participate.
Conducted with 75 to 250 participants, the leaders of the Landmark Forum are extensively trained, highly committed men and women. The course typically takes place over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Tuesday evening. To see
you get Monday to like, I don't know, recruit all your friends or something. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. So what? Monday becomes a blur? What are we doing Monday? I need plans.
A complete day-by-day description.
Why is he at a sub shop now? He's like, no longer are important conversations happening at coffee shops. Now they happen at Jersey Mike subs.
You can download the syllabus from our website.
Our leaders, oh no. Okay.
As you can tell, the Landmark Forum makes a real difference in people's natural leadership throughout their lives. Dr. Nancy Zapolsky, Vice President of Program Delivery at Landmark, is accountable for more than 600 Landmark leaders.
That's like Nancy, what's her face? Nancy from Nexium. I don't forget her last name.
Leaders worldwide.
That's Keith Raniere's the other guy, and then this is Nancy. That's like how they deliver all these cults.
At Landmark, we have a highly effective professional group of course leaders. Market Data, the largest and most respected report on the personal development industry, acknowledged Landmark as having one of the best leader bodies in the entire industry. However, what I want to talk to you about are the participants themselves. While the people who participate in...
Okay, well, I got enough. I don't know how much this is. I'm sure it's a lot because I got professional videos register. Let's just see. Let's just take a look-see real quick, see how much money. I want to register for the New York Landmark Forum. I guess I can't because I got to put all my information and I ain't doing that. Let's just assume it's thousands of dollars, I'm imagining, if you have to go in person for 3 days. Okay, so that's what this lady led this lady into. She cannot be trusted in my world. Okay, back to it.
And at
Salzman, there you go.
Seminar, self-development seminar is actually where I met Chris.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after Chris and I divorced, you came into my life again and introduced me to breath work, healing, meditation by taking me to people who shifted my life
What happened to Danielle, the breathwork coach from Transform? She was doing Instagram lives of breathwork with Dave a year ago plus with her. So how did she introduce her to breathwork? That's bullshit. That's not true.
A way that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
True.
And then here we are now.
I know. I have goosebumps from
You
my
know,
head to my toes
and,
right now.
And here's what's crazy.
Why?
You came back into my life. Like we can go years without talking. And
We
then when
did.
we do, it's like we never left, we had never left each other.
Yeah.
And there's always love. There's never, I mean, this is a sign of a good friend. There's never bad blood for not having responded or reached out. It's just like, there's nothing. You're
A sign of a good friend is there being nothing in terms of a relationship. Just years of silence is what defines a successful relationship. Angela Arnold. Thank you so much. Angela Arnold, you have been around for more than a year. You are now entering your toddler years of Keya's World. Wow. Congratulations. Me too, actually. I'm still in my toddler years as well. And for that, I say,
My father and I get sewn together.
don't ask why. Angela Arnold says landmark tuition is $795. That's actually less than I thought it would be. That's a steal, guys. We should all go. Bring your sweatshirts, okay? Yeah, it's pretty pricey still, but Tony Robbins conferences are could be thousands of dollars. So maybe it's the poor man's Tony Robbins. I still don't want to give $800 to sit in a conference room all weekend and a Tuesday and be indoctrinated for 12 hours. Thank you for that information. That's interesting. Okay, back to it.
You are love. You came back into my life was that December? You've always been in my life, but really deeply.
You know, it was,
or was it November?
My marriage ended September 2022.
So it must have been October.
And it was
I needed
October,
money at
and
that
you
point.
just reached out and you were like,
come here.
You can come use my beach house.
Yeah.
And I've been married for 20 years. I had never taken a trip just on my own to just be alone. And I was like, I have to do it. And I feel like it was at the beach house where it was like, we just
bonded
again.
And I was in a big transition because that was the point in my life where another relationship was ending permanently. And you really helped me through. And I think that was the time where I was kind of getting my bearings in another way that truly prepared me for, I think, the ultimate heartbreak that I felt so far. And now in this phase where back to the podcast, I actually haven't.
So I missed it a little bit because I was trying to pick up Tara. But so basically she was saying that, when they broke up, which was, I guess, December time, Dave died in February. So they definitely broke up before that. Not that much before that, but let's say they did break up in December. So she was involved around that time, it seems like.
Told you this, yeah.
Come here.
But this is huge for me. It's such a big deal for me and this hit me this morning. It's a huge deal for me to be venturing on my own for the first time without a man backing me or believing in me or giving me their approval.
So now she's got a woman with short hair doing the same thing. Much better.
This right here, it's me, it's you, it's Abby, it's God, right?
Yeah. God's a man.
And
right? In their world, at least, in the Mormon world, Daddy God, Heavenly Father, whatever, same thing. That's a male, right?
I posted a little bit on it on social media today, but I didn't really give all of the details. But truly, come here. Every single thing I have done, and I'm realizing this because I've been working through a lot of my childhood trauma that stems from my relationship with my dad. We all have it. But everything I've done, from how I achieved as a child and a teenager for my dad's approval, right? And I never got it in the way that I wanted it. He gave it to me, but not in the way that my child brain thought I needed to hear it. To what I'm learning now is I don't need a man's approval. I don't need a man to tell me I'm doing it right.
Just God's approval, which is the ultimate man if you really think about it. Thank you again to Rachel Diamond. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much is what I meant to say. Rachel says, can they just kiss already? Tara, what do you think? Taro's on a diet, okay? Taro needs to lose a couple pounds, says the vet, right? Now, Taro is used to eating whenever she wants. And I already fed her twice today, little scoops. And now she wants that third scoop, but she's not supposed to get it till later. So I'm so sorry. Little girly. She'll stop eventually. Just so you know, I'm not torturing her, I promise you.
Oh, okay.
And Rachel, I have to say this.
Are you friggin' bonker pants?
Are you freaking bonker pants? Heidi would never, but maybe. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're going to click back. I'm going to pick her up and she's going to be fine. Also,
you look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
that's what I'm telling Taro right now, okay? Here you go. Come here.
To tell me I'm doing it well. I don't need his stamp on it. And what's interesting is yesterday, in this is how this epiphany came to me.
Oh my gosh.
I was spinning, overthinking how to start a podcast. I mean, we'll get to this in a minute. The amount of resistance that has been and the amount of times I backed out. To get to here is an achievement alone because I have backed out so many times over many years. But as I was driving, I was like, man, I'm nervous again. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. All this self-talk is going through my head. And I reached out to two of my friends who are men because I was like, they'll know what to do. Like
Men
something
friends.
in my brain, again, childhood trauma, it's generational patterns. They'll know what to do. They'll know the answer to this. All while, like, essentially what I was doing is I was downplaying or not recognizing and acknowledging my knowing. Yeah. Right. And good news is,
Oof. Okay. That was traumatic for me. I have childhood trauma right now from that experience of picking her up. Now she has childhood trauma because she's the little baby. Thank you to JB. JB says, no chips for a year, Heidi. Love daddy XOXO. Yeah. That's one of Heidi's stories that she's told before that, her parents were very into fitness, and they would pay the kids money if they didn't eat any snacks for the year. And they all had to wake up at like 5 a.m. To go to the gym together as a family. And they were very, very strict about, being healthy, being good looking. That seems to be a big theme in their family. And that she was trying to get approval by being the thinnest possible version of herself and still felt like it never was enough. But then she has that awareness. She said that multiple times. But then she'll say, but I loved him and he was my best father ever and he never made a mistake and he just did everything. He set me up so great in life. It's like there's a disconnect between her acknowledging some things and then not fully acknowledging it. Like, okay, this person is not perfect. This person, did a lot of things to me. And I don't know if I need to know all this, but the fact that she talks about it publicly, it's weird to me that he's like this hero figure still in her life. You can hear me, right? She's like sitting on the soundboard. So yeah, good memory there, JB. And also I say,
This is gold, straight up.
Also,
She's savage.
She's savage. Okay. So back to childhood trauma. She called her two guy friends.
I couldn't connect with either of them because when they had called back, I was busy. And then this morning, we didn't match up. And it hit me this morning. I'm like, God is making this not align because I don't need a man to tell me I can do something. I don't need him to save me. No one's going to ride in on a horse. No knight in shining armor is going to take me away and live happily ever after. No, this is my life. Mm-hmm. I am mine to save, right? I am my own knightus, if that's a word, in shining armor.
And doesn't that
knightus?
What does that feel like in your body?
This is a very good question.
I disagree.
Okay, before the realization, it was scary. my whole...
Oh, don't you worry. This is the podcast. We are deeply in the podcast right now. This is all it ever is. Okay? Buckle up. We're in it. Why I'm doing this podcast is the podcast.
Life.
Don't leave.
Even,
no.
I mean, when you and I
I'm
reconnected
sorry.
in October, you probably remember the fear, right? The fear of jumping from a relationship, not jumping, but actually allowing a relationship to end that Dave and I knew was not right for a year at that point. But there's fear in not having a man know the answers and not having a man to lead me or guide me. Same with business. It's like there's a fear in jumping or tearing down my businesses, which is another whole podcast episode, destroying everything and not having a man as my partner. There's fear. There was fear in doing this, my very first, I don't even want to call this a business venture because this isn't to make money. This is a heart venture. But doing this without a man was scary. But the realization, when it popped in my head, I think I said, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you something.
Yeah. I will say, I don't have the same compulsion that she has with like needing to be with a man in a business sense or needing to be with a man to like lead me somewhere. But I definitely have this issue. I relate to it in a way of like, I need a man's support. Like in the background, I've always been that type that like I want to go and do my thing, but I also would prefer or like to have a partner that is like quietly supporting me, kind of like, and I think I related to it before he became part of it more so, but like a Dave Hollis in the background doing his own thing, I'm doing my own thing, we help each other, and I feel secure with that, and specifically with a man. So I do find myself nodding and sort of going, yeah, I can see it. And I think it is embarrassing. I am sort of embarrassed by that because it feels like not feminist enough or like not, independent girl boss enough. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jump off, baby girl. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, everybody. Hold on. We're having a trauma alert. Baby girl needs foodies. I'm going to feed her in a second. We're going to take a break in a minute so I can give her some kibbles. But so I'm not totally like, oh God, this is such an annoying topic, because I do find like some familiarity with it. But I don't know if there's a solution other than just like, I just decided that I no longer have this issue that stems from my childhood. I don't think that's how it works for me, at least. I think I can identify and be self-aware and go, I still have that need and sort of that want, and I don't necessarily like it about myself. So I'm interested to see if she comes up with some sort of tip for me with this, or it's just more of her like stream of consciousness.
Feels powerful. And I had a conversation with a friend last night who we hardly ever talk. We've only talked twice since high school, and she called me and I picked up. And I would never pick up because it was nighttime. I was tired, and we had a great conversation. And one of the things she said is I want you to know that, and it's funny because another friend had said the same. She said, I want you to know that like the moon, you are always whole, which is a saying I recently heard and I have written on a Post-it in my room. And then she said,
like the moon.
And your perfect match, not perfect match, but your match in a man would be like the sun, who is also whole, right? But she said the moon doesn't need the sun to do its job at night. So I don't need the sun. Yeah. I don't need a sun. You have a perfectly whole moon. And I feel whole. Yeah. Right now in this moment. Like let's clarify. When people are like, how are you doing? Yeah. Well, right now, here's how I am. Mm-hmm. But that can shift and fear can creep in. But at least that knowing of my power is there. Yeah. And I can always tap into that. So whole as we are, venturing into something that we don't know.
Cut out some tea there. There was something like, actually, let's leave that out. I got too personal.
And I say we. She knows what she's doing. So Keira's had a podcast hold on, let's talk about that real fast. Keira's had a podcast for how many years?
4. It has had 3 different names because that's how I roll. It's fine.
It's the evolution.
It is.
And listen, it is okay. I want people to know it is okay for things to evolve. It's okay for things to change. I think part of my overthinking that had me not wanting to start this or scared to start this is like well, what if I do it wrong? Right? Like that's a big thought that comes into all of our minds. What if I do it wrong? And what did you say to me when I said, what if I do it wrong?
I said, the only way you do this wrong is if you don't do it like Heidi. You have to do it Heidi's way and any other way. So anything that people have told you, this is how you need to do a podcast. This is how you need to do your message. This is what needs to be on first episode. No.
Yeah.
If you do it Heidi's way, that's the right way.
I love that. And this is actually one of the reasons why I
do them all out of order, do them months apart, talk about why you're doing the podcast the whole time. So what is her purpose then? If she doesn't tell you what to do and how to do it, then what is the purpose of having like a podcast coach, intuitive medium there for? What's the point? Save the money.
I'm keeping all of this stuff in to episode number 1. Number 1, because it's my way.
Yeah.
And number 2, I want you to see so that you can work through, because I have full confidence that like every single thing I do, I don't know what I'm doing at first. I have no idea what I'm doing at first. And I think what separates me from people who might not feel like they've achieved is I do it anyway. And I think that goes for any single person who is your version or your definition of successful. And I'm not talking about financially successful. I'm talking about, for me, success is achievement and fulfilling my heart. And sometimes it comes with financial success and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes
bullshit. Bullshit. If you weren't living in a nice house and had all the nice life, things that she has, I think she would be upset. I don't think she's trying to take any sort of like downgrades financially here. Let's be real. Come on.
It comes with success in the way of learning lessons. But
5 seconds ago, she was like, I've been a hustler since I'm 19 because I bought my grandpa's condo. Now all of a sudden she's like, I don't care about money. I don't care. It's about my heart. It's like, okay, now that you have the, money in the bank and properties and whatever, now all of a sudden you can care about your heart. Great. Wonderful. But let's include that part, please.
Every single person I think would say the same thing. They were scared shitless too.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway. And they're,
yeah.
I love that you said the only way to do it wrong is if you don't do it your way.
Yeah.
And my way,
be yourself,
is to not edit.
Yeah.
And I might change my mind.
Same.
I'm always going to reserve the right to change my mind next week if I want to. But I think since Dave passed and I came back on social, if anyone saw
I can't believe he died still. Like when people say it, I'm like, it's still jarring to me. Like, oh my God, we're here talking about this topic and he's not here. It's so weird still. JLB Nerdy, thank you so much. JLB Nerdy says, no one else wakes up at 4 a.m. like me. Well, you are a true hustler. You are a true maverick. You are the queen and the moon and the sun and every star. And we're all full of stardust on a rock floating through space. So everyone deserves to start a podcast and write a book about their own beliefs on life. Okay, that's what I always say.
Most people won't get up at 4 a.m.
Amen.
Are you Rachel?
No, I'm not.
Deep belly laughs.
That's what I'm lacking in this podcast thus far. Thank you, JLB Nerdy. Okay, back to it. I forget where we're at. Talking about Dave's passing.
My stories. Oof. I'm acting like everyone watches my stories. You probably don't, or you might. But I had actually shot some stories showing a studio. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited, right? Like I always do. I get really excited.
That you flew to and yes. I drove 4 of my kids to.
She drove her kids to come help me.
It was great. It was actually a really great trip. It was fantastic.
Let's just talk about the sacrifice though that went into that. Like truly, Keira had just gotten home from New York.
No wonder Kira's pissed and like wants this podcast to happen because she's like driven her children to labor for this podcast. Heidi, you have to do it now. You're indebted to this woman. Apparently she's helped you. I think she's still getting paid, but still. All her children are involved. You must do it now. I get it. Oh, I missed it. What was sorry, let's go back for a second. I missed the pop-up. Let me just check that I'm not missing anything important. Thank you, Bun Mom. You are also in the toddler stage. You are in the terrible twos, or almost there. You're getting to the terrible twos of this channel. Thank you so much. Bun Mom says, finally made it to a live again. Aw, and there's little Taro. There's little Taro. Taro is actually gone. She's left now. She's like, apparently she's like, I'm going to be a breatharian instead tonight. And she gave up. And thank you to Joms as well. Joms has been here for 11 months. Dang. Yeah. 1 month left till you're fully cooked.
Priceless, juicy nuggets.
You got to eat some priceless, juicy nuggets for 1 more month, Joms. You can do it. And then finally, Pablo Hormone. Thank you so much, Pablo Hormone. Pablo says, I try to choose sadness, but Keya makes me super happy. I don't own any white clothes. Can I still watch the train wreck? Absolutely. Gosh darn not. You must be wearing white. You must paint your, can you paint your fingernails? Do you have white out somewhere in the house? If you paint your fingernails, then you can be invited. Otherwise, you are uninvited, okay? And I have to say this.
What do I need to believe about this so that it serves me?
Keep that in mind while watching, okay? And also,
I'm spending too much time working, too much time giving.
always keep that in mind. If you are giving too much and caring too much about others, think of Ed Mylett and start thinking of yourself only. Be selfish, okay? Because that's the way he says to be. And we know he is the king of the world. Okay. Thank you, everybody. All right. Back to Heidi and Keira. Sleepover cult time.
Talking on a big stage. And she had previously led an event, I don't remember what order, for in Arizona, out of state. She lives in Idaho. She gets back from this whirlwind week and a half. And I say, Keira, I'm ready to do my podcast. God bless you and me for my special ridiculousness.
It was so good.
I said, I'm ready to do a podcast. Can I get your help? And this is something I actually do need to work on in my life. And I mentioned this to you, is enrolling people in things that I'm excited about because I feel it so much in the moment, whether it's love or business or like I am a hopeless romantic with everything, including work.
Yeah.
And I said, can I get your help? And you,
I thought she was going to say, like, I need to work on not asking people who I know are going to be extremely inconvenienced to help me because I just have a harebrained thought. I need to be a little bit, more respectful of people's time and, efforts and make sure that like it's a professional setting. No, she's like, no, I need to do what I did more.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Just bring people on board haphazardly. Okay. Different lesson, I guess. Oh, and thank you. Welcome, Michaela. Michaela. I think. Let's see. Let me just double check. Michaela says, thank you for all the laughs, Keya, my fave YouTuber. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And for that I say, did you get all that? Did you comprehend that? Okay, Michaela. Thank you.
Without hesitation, I had barely finished my sentence. Yeah. And you're like, I'll pack up my kids and drive 6 hours.
Oof.
Right after I get home and get my kids back. And you did. And you drove 6 hours for me.
This must be a good client.
I'll tell you why. Because there's not a lot of people in this world that I'm super close to because I don't know, I'm introverted and I have 5 kids and I run business. There's not a lot of people. You're one of my people.
Thank you.
And because you're one of my people, when you're like, I need help, I'm like, holy hell, yes.
Thank you.
I'll show up for you. And it was an amazing trip.
You also have 500,000 Instagram followers, which could help me.
Trip.
Well, but let's talk about,
and also maybe not, but it was both.
Look at this little hair.
So let's really talk about the trip. So Keira gets there.
I get there at 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. Drives all night.
Thursday morning.
Her children in the
Friday
car?
morning.
Yeah.
Friday morning.
So Friday during the day, we're in studio.
It's a little weird.
Abby and Susan are setting up my set. We're so excited. We're doing this.
Okay, I'm kind of coming back. I don't think how she handled it was right, but I'm kind of coming to Keira's side a little bit now because I'm like, okay, if this person put me through all this, driving 6 hours in the middle of the night with my 5 kids and like all this stuff, and she was promising, you know, that it was going to be this relationship that she was going to get paid, and now Heidi's like backing off. Now I would be pissed too. So now I'm sort of going, maybe there was justification to be upset, but I don't think she should have tricked her into like telling her God said it and all that. But yeah, it's sort of like annoying. I would be annoyed too.
Podcast, we pick the music. We know what the cover is going to look like. We're talking about the title, and we're shooting the next day.
Yeah.
And
we were jazzed.
We were jazzed.
We were
crying.
So
we were like all
excited.
crying. Yeah. And I get to the hotel and I have a freak out where I have not just a freak out, but a realization that in a time where I am coming home to me, and by home, I mean in my body, in my soul, in my heart, in my head, like I am coming home.
Yeah.
And I'm coming home to me. I'm coming home to my kids. I'm shedding a lot of my identities that previously told me I was enough, even with regard to my businesses, right? And that's a super scary thing. So I'm in this space where I've committed to myself to coming home, even if it means financial.
I'm coming home. Tell the podcast listeners I'm coming home. Let the lanes wash away. My name is Heidi Lane. Okay, thank you.
Financial stress, even
That's all I have to
whatever.
say.
What it could mean a lot of things, even if it means the world, you know, I don't get the validation of being a coach or a teacher anymore, so that I can heal.
Yeah.
And this realization had me like, why am I doing this in a studio in Utah?
Which rewind 2 days before, I was like, Heidi, why are you doing this in Utah?
And I was like, because this is
that makes no goddamn sense. You could have hired me for $5. I could have told you that. Heidi, you live in Arizona. Why do you want to do the podcast in Utah? And this lady lives in Idaho. Pick any other place other than where you're going. I could have saved you the drive, everyone.
the way that it is, it's going to be perfect. And so I got her jazzed on the idea of doing this out of state. And I don't think it's a bad thing in the long run. But my realization was in a world where I am committed to me and my kids first and foremost.
Yep.
Like those are my big rocks in the jar, right? A podcast has got to be the sand. Like everything besides me, my relationship with God and my relationship with my kids and my relationships with others after that, like friends who matter.
God and your children, all your children aren't in Utah. Well, I guess they are. God is everywhere, so you can be remote. You can be remote worker with God. But your children are in Arizona, so like going to Utah makes no sense.
Those are my rocks. Mm-hmm. There is literally not another rock in my jar. Mm-mm. The sand is a podcast and anything else, right? The sand is the biggest, grainiest podcast because it's the one I'm the most excited for. However, and it's a part of my healing. But I thought, why would I start a podcast in a studio in Utah? It needs to be in my home.
Yeah.
I need to know that no matter what.
It's like some big epiphany. It's like, I thought for a second I could have this podcast on the moon. And then I thought, I got to take a rocket ship there? Pfft, no. And then it all became clear. I need to do this in my house. Like, okay. All right. Good insights there, I guess.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I can hit record and I can talk, not dependent on having to fly to a studio or have somebody be here. And you know what?
Shit.
It's also more real.
Yeah. And cozy.
It's
and
raw.
like so cozy right now.
And her other podcast, like I said, she had a podcast in 2020 that she did from her home. So she's already done this before. From her home, okay? So I don't know why this is new information to her. She's already done this before. Down the street.
Oh.
Yeah.
The studio is so beautiful and
I
love
I
the
can
studio.
do some in the future. Like if there are people
Yeah.
I'm like, if I don't want to, there's sometimes I don't want the energy of someone else in my home.
Yeah.
And so I love the studio, but I felt like to set the scene, set the tone in my home first, so I can wake up with no makeup on and record and just be me. And
Heidi,
then
you have
if
makeup
I
on.
want
Come on.
to go to the office for a day and I'm in Utah, there are people that I know that we can film in the studio in Utah.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that's a big lesson for anybody, right? I think we all, and I'm not going to say we all, I, and a lot of the women who I've worked with, we often get we wonder why we try and fail and try and fail and try and fail over and over, right? Like, why can't my business succeed? Why can't relationships succeed? Why can't anything succeed?
Yeah.
The biggest thing I always talk about the idea of integrity, right?
Yeah.
It's doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, not just everybody else.
Heidi, come on. Stop with this bullshit. I hate when she brings up this integrity stuff because she picks and chooses what she wants to keep integrity about and what she doesn't. And she'll hide certain parts or not answer certain questions because she doesn't want to deal with it. Like, why was she not in the fitness competition? She had integrity. She said she was going to be in this fitness competition. This is before Dave died, but she did this whole YouTube series about it. And she was like, I'm fit under 40, over 40, fit over 40. And made this whole thing and was like, oh, I have integrity. I'm going to show up and go and do it. And then dropped it without a word, So it's like you only have integrity about everything and transparency when it's convenient. I hate that. It's just don't bring it up then.
Else, but mostly to yourself. And what happens in transformation, we always say that the biggest issue people have and why they try and fail so often is they overcommit.
Yeah.
You don't really think before you jump. Now there is a happy medium because we don't want to overthink and never jump, but we also don't want to always just jump. There's a time and a place to just jump.
Yep.
But thinking through those things. And if I want this podcast to be something that's sustainable and doable, I got to think before I jump.
Well, and when you told me that, it was just so much truth in my body.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable to fly to Utah all the time to record episodes when you have 4 kids. It's just not. This isn't sustainable. And
great.
The thing that came to me was this is so damn important. What you are doing here is so important.
It's not important.
We have to create the
literally the stakes could not be lower.
Hold the thing that's going to hold it, because if it's not sustainable, you're going to burn out and then nobody's going to get this magic. So that's why when you said I'm doing it at my home, yeah. So I will fly on down. I will fly on down.
Here she is again. Really, she's just thanking me for being one of her first guests in her closet.
I thought you were going to share something else. Not yet, Heidi. We're going to keep that one.
I'm not going to share that.
So let's go back to the closet. So.
Oh, what was that? Was that we kissed one time? I kissed a girl and I liked it. We're going to talk about that later. Or did I miss something? Am I picking up on vibes that don't exist or what? Let me go back just a quick sec. That seemed like a little bit of an innuendo there. I'm in the closet and we're not going to talk about that. Hold on.
Closet.
I thought you were going to share something else. Not yet, Heidi. We're going to keep that one.
I'm not going to share that.
So let's go back to the closet. So my podcast started in
Let's go back to the closet and also
back to the swallowing.
Related.
Closet in my house. And I had Heidi. You were probably one of my first 10 guests. So thank you.
She said, I love how she's like, hey, I started a podcast. It's the studio. She called it a studio. As at my house. I'm like, that's amazing. Keira has a studio at her house.
That was cool.
And then Abby, we get to her house and she's like, come up into this room. The room is great. She walks me into a closet, literally just a small closet, shuts the door, sits down and goes, okay, this is where we're doing it. And I'm like, this is your studio? You're like, yeah, the acoustics are great here.
Horrible. The acoustics were horrible. But it was it was my little safe place.
It was.
Right?
I felt cozy in there.
It was so cozy.
We pulled cards. Do you remember that?
We did.
Heidi seems very normal here in this moment. And I like her in this moment, to be honest. She seems like she's a normal person right now, which I can appreciate. Be more like this, Heidi. if this is your true personality, it shines through and it's enjoyable. I don't know about this one, but Heidi, it's, seems like, oh, you're human, as she says.
Humans.
Cards. It had all my crystals everywhere, and it was a magical closet.
Guys, I like over the years I'm becoming kooky.
It was so great, but do you know what sucked about that episode is that we laughed so much and moved around so much that the audio was out of control because we were like this the whole time.
So when I've gone back to look at any podcast that I've done with other people,
Heidi needs to get mic stands though. Holding these must be tiring. Holding this like in front of you for like an hour is gotta be hard.
People, it is literally like I'm laughing over them the whole time.
Okay, wait, we have to go back to the closet. Okay. So while we're there, Heidi tells me, I'm going to start a podcast.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to start a podcast. And I was like, yes. And so it was like so beautiful that you spoke that in my little closet. And here we are.
4 years later.
It's okay. It's okay.
Here we are.
But like who you are now and who I am now, we're like lifetimes different.
We are.
Literally.
4 years ago.
So I feel like that's a good segue to this whole idea of me doing a pod, because it is something I think you were the first person to have me realize, if she can do it,
if she can do it in her closet, I got this.
But I'm serious, Keira. I was like, well, if Keira can do it, I can do it.
She's a loser.
Like at the time we had a TV show and stuff. So I'm like, I can figure this out.
Keira's rigging this in her closet. I got this. And it's true.
But in all honesty, I think that's really important for people to know. I think sometimes people look at me or anyone who has a platform.
Yeah.
And has what the world would call success. And they think, oh, they know
what the world would call success. This is like I don't think I'm successful. I'm just a little TV star. But other people look at me and think success. Silly minds.
Know how to do everything. They can do anything. Not so much. Like especially when my brand was the result, let's be honest, it was an accidental result of a TV show that my ex-husband had. And I just really am a workhorse, and I loved my husband and I loved the people that I worked to the point where they wanted to bring what was happening on the show. So a brand was created for me. I have so many people saying, how did you create your brand? I'm telling you, God wanted me to have a platform. Yeah.
Why?
And I think because of it, I've dealt with a lot.
Because you're blonde? You're better than us, you think? Why does God want you to have a platform and everyone else can just go suck rocks? Like, I hate this mentality. God, I was Team Heidi for 1 second. Now I'm like, oh, God again. God's chosen you. You're the chosen one again. Oh, not this again, please.
Of a lot of unworthiness.
But can I say something?
Yeah.
No.
If you weren't this magical, powerful being.
I'm going to be touching your leg.
Yeah, I know. I think that's just where we're going to have to be.
We're going to touch each other's
I'm
legs.
saying something really important right here. So
focus.
Hold on. Okay. But if you weren't who you are, which is like.
There's definitely some vibes going on. There's definitely some vibes in this white couch scenario. It's like casting couch, like the before the action starts. This is not too far. I'm sorry. Juliana, thank you so much. Juliana says, started my first adult trademark job. So what better way to celebrate than giving a stranger my money? Which of these grifters got the other into the game? Well, thank you for sharing your new job trademark money with us and with me specifically me, so I can fund Tarot's food bowl drive, which is the most important thing in this universe. Which of these grifters got the other into the game? Between these two, Heidi and Keira, I think Heidi probably was first. I think, but who knows? I think Heidi was more successful, obviously, so I would imagine Keira is following her footsteps, but good question. I don't know. It seems like Keira has been into like the book publishing world for a little bit, and now she's doing woo-woo medium garbage. So that's probably a newer development. But good question. And thank you again so much. And I have to say this to you.
Oh shit, there's shit on the pillow!
That's what Heidi is thinking in her head. And also,
Colts.
There's literally no place in the world than I would rather be than right here with you.
that's what they're saying to each other by laughing and flirting with each other. Thank you, Juliana. And also JB, thank you so much. JB says, Heidi, respectfully, you're wearing God out. God's like, I can't focus on the other parts of the universe right now. I have to tell Heidi that she is worthy and she doesn't need a man, and that her podcast should be recorded in Arizona and not Utah. Oh, his to-do list is just, this is God's to-do list. And it just says Heidi's tasks are on it all day from now until the year 2050. Colts. Am I right?
No big deal.
Oh, thanks, Craigie. You're the best. And also,
you have to think instead of sitting around eating Skittles and watching Oprah reruns.
That's what you guys could be doing right now, all of you on this chat, and you're not. You're sitting around watching two people fall in love while we criticize them. That is progress. Amen. Okay, back to it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You are just, like just your presence shifts people. If you weren't that, none of this would have been built. So maybe just like Steve Jobs happened to live down the street from the one computer place in the world and happened to, like his life environment teed him up to become the Steve Jobs. Yeah. So your life environment teed you up, but because of who you are, that's why it worked.
I love what you just said. And
sure.
I mean, there are so many directions we could go right here.
She's like, I didn't
But
hear
there's
it.
a really great Steve Jobs quote that I'm going to jack it up, but it's something to the effect of, we can never connect the dots looking forward, but we can always connect them looking back.
Yep.
And it was the whole idea of skill stacking, right? There were so many things in my life. When I say skill stacking, like the traditional person, it's like, oh, I worked at a pizza joint and then I delivered newspapers and then I nannied and then I did all these things. And now I'm this massive CEO, right? So that's kind of the idea of skill stacking.
Yeah.
Losers.
However, for me, it was shame stacking.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
And like even saying it like hits me in the heart a little bit.
Yeah, anyone who's delivered newspapers and pizzas, they don't have shame. Only influencers and fitness experts are shame-filled.
From just all my mistakes and my mistakes made my eating disorder to I was engaged after high school and I ran away from it. I was married and divorced. And there's just...
Oh, damn. So there was an engagement to a different guy? Please, I want to know that story. Drop the tea. This is slumber party talk. Talk about that.
Thing after thing after thing after thing in my life that I had shame for and shame around. And as a result, I'm a super brainy, logical person. But my life experiences have created empathy and heart and compassion and non-judgment in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise. And my dad was the greatest dad and he struggled with addiction and with my eating disorder. I mean, it's just all of these things that happened when I was placed when Chris and I created the show together. Yeah. But he was the star, right? And I was just the fixer in the background who was trying to fix everybody and everything, including, business for Chris. And I was his manager to these wonderful people who had food addictions, which was I
never heard this before. She was the one doing it. Chris was just the hot hunk for the TVs, but she was the real one to be actually doing the real work behind the scenes before she came on to the season. I think she was on season 5 or something, and then it got canceled. Interesting. I think this is a a new thought that, or at least something shared that I have not heard previously. I don't know if I buy it. I kind of don't. I don't buy it, but okay, let's hear her out.
They and I were no different. Like I had a food addiction, but I could just hide it because I was bulimic back in the day. And so there was a bonding that happened, right? So it was shame stacking. And then there was a moment where I thought I would never, like I thought I'm always going to regret. I would have that run through my brain. I'm always going to regret this. I'm always going to regret this mistake or this mistake. And then there was a moment where what I previously considered a mistake, which was my decade-long eating disorder that ruined my esophagus and my teeth. I'm literally getting an endoscopy on Friday to check the damage from years and years of this in the past. It ruined my teeth. I had to get veneers. I mean, it ruined a lot.
Yeah, but the veneers look nice. So it's like, well, bonus, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. I never saw her with her teeth previously, but I mean, Dave didn't have any disorder, I don't think, and he got veneers too. So it's kind of like typical influencer stuff. But I guess I'll believe her, I suppose.
But in that moment, I saw that all of the pain and all of the struggle and all of the mistakes and all of the shame was for a reason.
Yeah.
So that I could connect and help them and understand them in a way that I never could have otherwise.
Yep.
And so kind of fast forwarding over some stuff, because there's a lot after that, right? It doesn't stop. I always say I'm the jack of all trades and the master of none. And when I say the jack of all trades, it's just I've messed up a lot in life.
Yeah.
And so how does that qualify me? I mean, it qualifies me because I feel like it doesn't need to qualify me to anybody, but it qualifies me with God.
Yeah.
And it qualifies me with myself. I've lived a lot of life, and I feel like if I can share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings.
It's like so much is about why I'm sharing my feelings, why I'm sharing my thoughts, why I want to do this, which is the podcast. In the actual podcast, like, then share it. What thoughts do you have? Let's hear them. I haven't heard many thoughts, a couple here and there, but it's so much about like, I think that's so much of what self-help is and personal development is. It's like, you are the person who you want to be, and you got to turn into the person. Okay, what does that even look like in reality? What does that actually like entail? Are you leaving your husband? Are you going back to school? Are you starting a business? Like, I want we're at the point now in the evolution of self-help and personal development. These vague platitudes are no longer going to work for someone like myself. And like, it shouldn't work for anybody. We should go, okay, there's so many different gurus now. Everyone should pick a lane, and teach what they know. And that's it. But like, oh, you should, I'm here to teach and to share and to learn. That means nothing. That literally means nothing. And I feel like we're just running in circles about why she's doing this podcast. Like, okay, we get it. Now tell me the thoughts that God told you to tell me, please.
In a way to where anybody listening can relate or see a part of who they are in my story.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can be helped.
Well, and they will.
Yeah.
And this is something I say to authors as I help them write their books is your life qualified you to write this book. Your life qualified you for everything that you've done. And I want to highlight that, like, on the energetic scale of emotion.
These people know that everyone has a life. Every human being has a life. So we're all qualified. Okay, I'm going to feed Tarot. Give me 2 seconds, everybody. Take a little pause. Little pause for little pause. Come here. Let me get you some. I'm going to get you a big scoop. Okay, now we'll have a happy girl. She hates me. Oh, let me just quick pause. So let me just tell the story in reverse. The bird was fine. But on Sunday morning, I was sitting out in the backyard looking at a butterfly, and all of a sudden I hear Tara go, like her little, like not the purring, not the meowing, but this little like, and usually that means she's going to throw up. So I look back and I see a giant thing in her mouth. And I'm like, what is that? I thought it was like a frog at first. And I was like, oh my God, get it out of your mouth, get it out of your mouth. Because I thought I was going to like poison her or something. So instead of dropping it, she runs into the house. And I'm like chasing after her, like, Tara, what is that? Drop it, drop it. And all of a sudden, she opens her mouth and this thing comes out and flies up to the ceiling. So she had caught a bird, and a yellow belly. So I don't know what it was, a swallow or something. And, or someone's parakeet. I don't know. It was small and had a yellow belly, and it was on the fan in the living room, and it had flown up there. And then Tara was meowing, staring up at it, wanting to catch it once again. And then I had to guide it with a broom. I didn't touch it, but I had to guide it out to the screen door, and it flew out eventually. And it kept trying to fly up, and it kept flying into the ceiling. I'm like, oh my God, this poor bird. But it flew away. So Tara had the biggest catch of her life, and I'm hoping that bird was okay. Tara, I think, just thinks that everything's a toy, so I don't think she would intentionally try to bite through something like that, but that did happen to me. It was something that occurred, and now we can all move on. Thank you. And for that I say,
this is gold, straight up.
Yeah, I did not record. I was screaming. Like, I just did not want this bird to be hurt. I can't handle it. So yeah, no recordings exist, but we got through it. We got through it in real time, as they say. And I promise you, it's not a fake story. Okay, back to it. Tara's fed. She's going to come back, hopefully, and hang out. And she's not eating birds right now. Okay, back to Heidi and whatever her name is, Keira. I forgot our leader's name. I forgot.
Shame is the lowest one closest to death.
Ooh.
And I want to just really help you see how powerful you are. Because if shame has
something about death. Okay. Yeah, about dying. That's good to tell Heidi.
Really help you see how powerful you are. Because if shame has been the thing that you've had your feet in, for you to have created what you've created, even with the shackles of shame, holy hell, Heidi. Who are you? Right?
There's not as much shame anymore.
But
I've broken free from
this.
But yes.
Right?
Yes.
To lead up. And I think this is so good for the listeners because everybody deals with shame. Yeah. And that's why people relate to you, is because you're honest about it. And it's like, if you've been able to create what you've created with shame pulling at you, anybody can create. And that's what you bring.
I love that. Shame and unworthiness, which, let's be clear.
Yeah.
That unworthiness probably, it still exists in a way. There's a lot less shame.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've transformed the way that I think.
Yeah.
I don't believe in right or wrong, mistakes, or I don't believe in that anymore.
Give us the insights. How did this happen? Let me go through the details. Give me one specific example, please.
I believe there is what I do, and I either win or I learn, right? I love it.
Say that again.
I believe that I do what I do.
Yeah.
And
this is the part I hate. This is the part that I hate. This is the time that I hate. When we start, the loving, I love you so much. No, you're the best. No, you're the best. No, you're the smartest. No, you're more ordained by God. No, you. Oh, it's like, shut up. And then the second part, it's like, wait, say it louder for the girlies in the back. What did you say? It's like the most asinine quote you've ever heard. Like, if you don't try, you'll never know. Oh, wow, can you believe that someone as bright and as wondrous as Heidi Powell would say something like that? It's like, oh my God. This is the most regurgitated bullshit. Like, this has been a roller coaster for me thus far. Like, I like a little bit, then I'm down again. Then I like a little bit, and I don't care anymore. It's like, ugh, we're halfway through, too. Like, okay, I'll stop stopping it so much.
I either win or I learn.
Can we make that into a poster?
Yeah, but I have to give credit to Drew Manning, my friend, who taught me that.
That's so good.
I can't take credit. It is so good.
I'm sure he took it from someone else,
it's
too.
kind of like in nutrition. I always tell people, so here's what's interesting. I am highly qualified in the things that I teach, right? Like in nutrition, in fitness, and I'm qualified there.
How? Tell me, you have a fucking dietitian's degree? I don't think so. Well, how are you qualified in nutrition? You had an eating disorder? I don't think that qualifies. Like, how are you qualified? What school did you go to? Maybe you're a personal trainer. I don't know. Are you certified at all? Do you have any credentials at all other than I was on TV and I have an Instagram? Like, tell me what they are. I'm interested to know. I would like to know.
Yeah.
But that's not where I feel like I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And I'm in a season where I'm not teaching. And I could because I'm qualified to teach. But I'm in a season of healing for me.
Yeah.
And I actually was explaining to Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. Listen, he is America's grandpa. I love him. He just is. He is love.
Yeah.
And he and I have a relationship, like we met through
businessman.
business, and he's just a good friend of mine. And he wanted me on his podcast.
Oh, God. Oopsies.
Yeah.
Don't look.
And I believe he had asked
Why does it
me
always
right
do
before
that?
Dave passed away, before my world crumbled. I accepted. And I don't want to say crumbled. Before I realized how strong I was to build on my own. And I accepted. And then as it drew closer, I sent him this big email. And I said, Jack, I don't know that I'm in a place to teach. So if you want, like, let me explain where I'm at emotionally. I've torn down my businesses because I feel like I've been called by God to be a mom.
Yeah.
I feel like this is my calling to be home, to heal stuff that predates Dave and predates Chris and predates Derek and goes into my childhood. I feel like I need to heal that so I don't keep bleeding all over everybody. And
Someone tell Rachel.
I said, I'm not in a place to teach, but I'm more than happy to share. And that's something I've said over and over on social recently is like, hey, I don't want to, I can't teach. I choose not to teach, but I'm happy to share. And if my sharing helps, great. And Jack, when he actually,
That's all what
emailed
teaching is
back
anyways,
and
is them sharing about themselves.
said, I love you. I hope you know that I love you. And I love you more now. And I would love to have you on because, you know, we have some similarities. So we got on the podcast. And I don't remember if we were recording or not. So I don't know what made the episode. But he had said, hey, I want to let you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be in every way. And he said, and I believe your sharing is going to be the most impactful thing that you do. And he said, I heard a quote once, not long ago, that went something like, I'm not here to teach you. I'm here to love you. And through my love, you will be taught. And that resonates with me. I'm not here to teach you. So to anyone listening, I'm not here to teach you. I am actually
here to take your
here
money
to love you. And I think that,
God. Okay, now we're at the part of the teaser. Oh, JLB Nerdy. Thank you, JLB Nerdy. As always, thank you so much. JLB Nerdy says, it's giving Trixie and Katya somehow. Add buzzwords. I've seen a couple of Trixie and Katya videos. Colts. I feel like the dynamic is not as fun. It's a little bit more sad. A little bit more downer vibes, a little bit from what I remember. But I'll trust you there. I'll trust you there. This is what you think about this, JLB Nerdy.
This is so good.
And also,
we're going to get a little weird. You ready for me?
We are in the weird territory right now. And also,
one of the things that fascinates me about you is that you're from Canada.
True. Thank you, Jill Be Nerdy. And also Mai, thank you, Mai. Welcome, Mai. Mai says, I feel like Chicken Soup for the Soul was promoted to me in elementary school at book fairs. Yeah, we used to have like a Chicken Soup for the Soul night where you'd go into like your elementary school and sit in the library at night and like read and have soup. Excuse me. They were like huge back then. This guy made a ton of money. And he was kind of like not a grifter necessarily in the beginning, but he told his origin story. And it was like, yeah, I was living in an apartment with like 12 roommates and I was trying to sell this and sell that and sell whatever. And then I think he like bought the rights or something to Chicken Soup for the Soul and like marketed it. I believe that's what happened because he's not like a writer. He just hired people or bought the little stories from everybody and put it together and then sold it and did really, really well. I mean, I will say he's a very savvy businessman. And like I said, he was not the most annoying person ever in person, but I still think that he runs in the circles I don't agree with, so I'm not a fan. But yeah, he's actually got a successful business. Not so much anymore, I don't think, but now he's gone into personal development seminar stuff, which meh. But yeah, definitely had a good run there. And for that I say,
Had her laptop out.
she had her laptop out. And also,
What do I need to believe about this so that it serves me?
I love that one. It's so good. And also,
you're not freaking fine.
That's what I'm saying to both of these ladies right here. All right, back to it. Shut up, Kayla.
Oh, okay.
Anyone who's worked with me in the past knows that that is real and true for every single thing that I've taught, even if you've been a part of my nutrition education courses. I am not here to teach. I'm not on this earth to teach. I believe I'm on this earth to love.
To love
and
nutrition?
I believe that love transforms and it guides and it does teach.
What are you talking about?
And I mean, that goes for how it was on Extreme. I was not qualified at the time to teach or transform. I wasn't qualified to teach.
Yeah.
I was qualified through my hellish experiences to love unconditionally, and love changes people.
Yeah. And I look at like, well, one, you're my weight loss coach. 2.5 years ago, I was 40 pounds heavier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But I mean, listen, it's not about the number on the scale.
No, it's not.
It's about your heart and your soul and your glowing.
I will say that what actually shifted for me in your group was you were like,
Keira was in one of my groups.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we hadn't talked in years and I signed up for your group. I don't think we talked in like 3 years.
But what was cool was the impact that you had made in that group of women just by being you. That
she was like, I'm going to poach Heidi's co-clients for my own purposes.
That's part of what I love about you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is you are just you.
I can't be any other way.
And she's free, right? You know what I'm saying, Abby? It's like she's fully expressed and like you're just like a firecracker. And I love it.
Which either activates or just burns the whole damn town. So it's just either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. And sometimes we just burn down villages. No, because
I love when people say that. You either love me or you hate me. It's like, okay. I guess those are two options. Yeah.
We either create magic
at one point.
Like we're either going to create magic or we're just going to burn the whole damn town. Like it's just going to. But okay, I have to say this though, is that it was your love in that group, which was P.S. It was so great when I signed up for your group and then you like texted me like, Keira, I haven't talked to you in years. You just signed up for my weight loss group? Yeah, Heidi. I figured.
Hey, what's up? You just paid me. Why'd you pay me money? Like you're my friend.
Like Heidi, I need help. And you know, what was powerful is you were like, when was the last time you looked in the mirror?
Oh, I remember.
And I was like, I don't have a mirror.
Yeah.
And you're like, when was the last time that you weighed yourself? Like, I haven't weighed myself in years. And you were like, you just actually held this place of love for me. And it was the first time I was like, oh, I'm not willing to see myself. And your love made it safe enough for me to go buy a mirror and buy a scale and be like, it's time for me to see truth. But it was the safety of your love. And I feel like that's what we're creating.
Or it's someone who is very aware of her own weight and how she looks in the mirror and was like, well, what I do is stare at myself and weigh myself every second. That's what I do to lose weight. Take my tips. Or that could be true also.
Here is like safety. Like we live in a world where no one's real and everything looks perfect, and we all know it's not.
Yeah.
And there's safety that you bring with your love. And so like I'm so excited about whatever this is. And like we don't even know. Maybe I'll be on one episode, maybe I'll be on 4. Like we just take it at 1 second at a time. But like whatever this is, people are going to feel so safe to be themselves.
Why?
What did I write? When I was writing,
I just watching two people talk about themselves does not make me feel safe in any way. Should I feel safe? I feel very unsafe. No, I don't feel unsafe. I just don't feel safe. I just feel neutral. Is this like something that we should all feel? Like, oh, this amazing conversation between friends makes everyone watching it feel safe. Like, when did this concept come into fruition?
A goal of this, because you just said something.
Yeah.
It just in brainstorming. No, first, I want to touch on, you said something about truth. You said with the mirror, Heidi, you taught me that at first I need to see the truth.
Yeah.
I think that is key for anytime I see anyone suffering or in like angst, right? I know enough now through my experience of doing it the hard way. I'm not going to say the wrong way, doing it the hard way, that any angst and dis-ease in me is usually the result of an untruth or me not being willing to look at a truth. And sometimes the truth is ugly. Right?
Sucks.
It does. But the only thing that sucks more than an ugly truth in like an ugly truth is the ugly truth in the dark.
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's an ugly truth that we don't want to look at.
Okay, take a little pause. It's going off the rails, I feel like here. An ugly truth in the dark. How about a lie? A beautiful lie. That would have been a better one. You know what's worse than ugly truth? A beautiful lie. And that's why I say, buy my course. It's a beautiful lie that you can be involved in. Thank you, Kay. Welcome. Welcome, Kay, to the membership. I appreciate you. That's all I have to say. Actually, I lied.
I do number 2.
Just in case you weren't aware. Do you feel safe now that I've shared that with you? Okay.
The second we bring truth to light, speaking of looking at, I mean, whether it's your body,
that she was 40
you seeing
pounds
yourself in the
bigger than
mirror,
she is
or
now.
it's a
Big
secret
truth
that you're hiding,
or it's a relationship.
Yes.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
But when you see truth, you can't unsee truth.
Just that acknowledgement right there,
Yeah.
is huge, because then when you know it's there, you don't have to do something about it right away. And I think there's this idea, well, if I see it, then I have to do something about it. No, first, all you need to do is see it. Right. And there's been a lot of me finding truths about myself as I'm prepping for this podcast, like all of my old patterns creeping back, and I have to name them. And I named them, and I didn't change all of them right away. But now that I know that they're there, I can't not know that they're there. And every single day, it's not about doing it perfectly. And this is what I have taught in my communities. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about like every single day. Am I 1% better or further along today in at least one area than I was yesterday? This is the human thing. And there are areas I'm going to backslide in. Same with you and me. But it is that truth that guides everything. And I actually think too, this is a great thing to name, because in knowing you and loving you, and every time I'm in your orbit, or you're in my orbit, I will say, there's just like, there's pure love and joy.
Actually.
And, there's like it's like a light. Right.
There's a whole lot of laughter because we are wild.
You know
as
why?
hell.
What it is we are just truth tellers. We are actual truth tellers in a way that we're like,
it's gotten so bad. Like now we're just complimenting each other back and forth and complimenting ourselves and calling it a podcast. I hate it.
Like, okay, this truth has to stay right here for now.
We're truth tellers.
We're like, we might record some podcasts that will launch in 2 years
or 20 years or like after we die. But what I was going to say is that light and that thing that is so attractive, it's called truth. And I think anytime you feel
it's another pet peeve of mine, especially in self-help. It's like when people are talking and they say again, the most like basic ass thing, like everyone needs to breathe to live. Yes, say that again for everyone who just needs that in their life right now. Some days are good, some days are bad. Oh yeah, woo! That was some fire today. It's like, what? Did you not speak to a human in 15 years? That comes up all the time for us. These stupid platitudes, once again. Calm down. Sorry.
Well, the energy of somebody who you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be around that person. Like I can't, it's truth that you are feeling. You are feeling and witnessing authenticity. It's somebody in their raw state. And that's why you can.
Or someone manipulating you to feel that way because they got something to sell you or something.
Even see someone in their messiness. And the more honest and authentic you are, the more you love them. I mean, that's one of my issues. I have to be careful which men I let in my orbit because if they are truth tellers, no matter how messy they are, I have so much love for truth.
Well, truth is...
Dave was not a truth teller. As much as I've, revised my feelings about Dave and how harshly I criticized him and have regrets about it to a degree, he was not telling the truth to people publicly. He might have been telling you the truth, Heidi, but she said that she didn't know that he had a drug addiction. So I don't know how much truth there is in that. But come on. Is that what the insinuation is there? That, Dave was too truthful? Because he really was not. I'm sorry. Maybe your other husbands, but I don't think we can include him in that.
Like, it's the stable ground that you can really plant in.
Oof.
That's it. It's like,
stable ground.
There's safety in it because you know what to expect.
Yeah, it's like, there's truth here. I may hate the truth, but at least it's truth.
Amen. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like that. So let's find our way. Let's find our way back to what we wanted to talk about today. That's why I'm here.
Look at if you could see the Post-its. Hold on. I just have to show. I was told not to grab the Post-its and distract.
I told her not to.
But I don't have a name.
Okay.
That feels good. Okay. We went through this. Bear with us, guys. These are my, we talked about the resistance.
I feel like what needs to be shared is starting over. Weird.
So
that's what I
did. Yeah, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, I mean, I had said, I think both of these go hand in hand. I don't have a name for this yet.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a thing where I've been like, hey, God will show me. I am a hippie child turned Jesus freak.
But I'm such a God girl. So this is the thing I love.
This is new for me.
Yeah, I know. It's like every time you say it.
Wait, she was a hippie freak turned Jesus lover? What? I thought she was a Mormon turned back to Mormon. I didn't know she had a hippie phase. I guess breath work she's considering. Is this a reverse Rachel Hollis? What's going on? Hold on. I need to hear that again.
Listen, I am a hippie child turned Jesus freak.
Hippie child turned Jesus freak? When did that happen? What evolution was this?
I'm such a God girl. So this is the thing I love.
This is new for me.
Yeah, I know. It's like every time you say it, I'm like,
girls,
is this what's actually coming out of her mouth?
I feel like this is a new, another podcast at some point because
all day.
It's been a journey for me. And the journey actually started, I think a lot of people think it started after Dave died or when he died. It didn't. It started after my depression and anxiety in 2022. Yeah. And it was it was like hey, there's no other way. And we'll go into that another time. Yeah. But having God in my life has shifted me in a major way.
Yeah. I mean, Dave was fairly religious, it seemed, at least towards the end. I mean, he was in church, sort of stopped. It kind of was like they were watching sermons on Facebook Live and things during the pandemic. Didn't really hear much about God, but he would bring it up once in a while. His family was religious, like his parents seemed like they have some religion. And then his last podcast that I remember that he recorded, or at least I cover on the channel, was him talking about church and him crying in church and feeling very connected to God and trying to get back into the church. And I think he went to Jen Hatmaker's church in Austin and was talking about that. So I wonder if that also played into Heidi. But Heidi's Mormon, like I said, so I don't know. Welcome, P. Kane. I don't know if it's not the same as his religion. I don't know if it matters, or maybe his religiousness got her interested again. I don't know.
I know I no longer care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Okay, right. Sure.
I care what he thinks.
God is the stable ground.
Yeah. He is the truth. He is the truth.
Yeah, it's the only ground that actually will never crack.
I love that. Yeah.
I can't wait for that episode. Stay tuned.
Maybe you can do that one with me.
Yeah, we're going to need to do that one. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't have a name for this yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's part of me that's like, this is a whole different episode too. Maybe it's just welcome to Heidi's Lane, because my name is really Heidi Lane, right? Maybe it's Heidi Lane. Maybe. And I had a friend suggest something to me. You'll notice I can't take credit for things I didn't come up with.
Yeah.
And this friend has always suggested things that have been impactful in how I impact the world, believe it or not. He had said, hey, there's that post that you do, and it really resonates with me in relationship to who you are.
What?
And there's this quote.
There's this
that
post
he was
that you
referring
do
to that says,
there's this post that you do that makes me feel in relationship to you. What does that sentence mean?
don't be afraid to start over. This time you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Don't be afraid to start over. This time you are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience.
I like that.
And as I don't want to call myself the queen.
I don't know if it was a dig at Rachel. I doubt it. I don't think Heidi's that clued into Rachel's scandals. Maybe so. I doubt though.
Although I am a queen and you are a queen and Abby, you are a queen and
Yes,
you watching are either a queen or a king.
I'm a queen, baby. Thank you.
But I do feel like
so
I am
loved.
one of the queens of starting over. The number of times in my life that something that felt stable and long lasting and happily ever after, the number of times that those things have actually either shifted on me or been pulled out from under me, or, you know, whether it's my dad passing away, Dave passing away, 2 marriages ending, businesses failing. I think everybody listening and I think we all can relate to the idea.
I love how they twist it. It's like, doesn't that mean that what you're doing probably should be tweaked? Probably should be worked on? Probably should be reconsidered? No, it means I'm more qualified to give you more advice. It's like, okay.
Starting over being really difficult. The idea of starting over being really difficult, and the only way to get good at starting over is to do it often, like with anything. Practice makes
8 times.
Practice makes progress, right? And it's an uncomfortable muscle. Starting over, or the idea of starting over, which is why we stay tethered to these things that are toxic in our world.
To the harbor in which we need to go past to sail the ocean blue. I think she got that from a book called Built Through Courage, probably.
World, right? These things that we know aren't good for us, whether it be an abusive marriage or relationship or a toxic business or something that is just energetically pulling you. We tether ourselves to these things because we are so fearful of starting over. Yes, there's comfort in the chaos. Like there's comfort in that. But I think more than the comfort, it is the fear of starting over, because we think I'm going to have to start from scratch. Right. And we're never, ever, one thing that's guaranteed, we all know we're going to die. And I think the other thing that's guaranteed is every one of us is going to find ourselves in a place between now and the time that we die, where we're starting over again. And I think if we can reframe that, like if this podcast can be a platform where we help reframe starting over as a thing that's not scary anymore, but it's actually beautiful. right?
You know, it's like starting over, but basically just doing the same thing again, but a little different. That's all this is. I'm going to change people's lives and make money at the same time with a co-creator of some sort that's in the same exact space as me. Okay, and so instead of Dave, now it's Keira. Okay, so before Dave, it was Chris. Before whatever, it was whatever. And it's like, okay, you're doing the same shit. What have you really started over? Like, what is really You're having a podcast. Okay, before you had a TV show. Very different. Not really. She had a podcast before. So you really are doing the same medium again. It's just, it's not that deep, man.
Super weird is that the amount of times that we've gone in and out of friendship, it's like we've started over every single time.
Every time.
That's so crazy.
Every time. Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Can I share something that I
Yes.
learned when I was, my marriage was ending and it obviously wasn't in my highest good to go back, but I found myself wanting to go back because it was 20 years. 20 years, like half my life. And I was praying to God and I was shown the story of Moses and the children of Israel.
I don't even know that. Remember, I'm new to God.
Okay.
I'm new to Bible stories.
I'm going to
Teach
bring
me.
it really simple. Okay. So for years and what generations upon generations, the Israelites were slaves and to the Egyptians. And they just were waiting for the promise that someone was going to save them.
God showed her this scene. He's like, I don't need you to go to the Bible. I'm going to directly give you the Bible story into your brain sphere, into the download. And I'm going to give you its source energy codes for you to know this story intuitively for you. Just for you, Keira. Thank you, Mai says, who makes you feel more exhausted at the end of the stream, Heidi or Rachel? Rachel. It's worse. Rachel gets me fired up and angry. Heidi just, I'm like, I don't know what to think. This has made me feel okay and then bad and then okay. And then what are you talking about? Huh? What are you saying? None of this is actually interesting. That's how I feel. Just sort of like, just over it by the end of Heidi's. Rachel's, I'm like, she's a liar. She's not telling the truth. She's crazy. Oh my God. So probably Rachel gets me more tired. For that I say,
I love selling stuff online.
that's Jay Shetty. Actually, speaking of Rachel, let's say this.
Oh, okay. Cult.
Also, you guys, don't be this.
Dumbass. Dumbass.
All right? Promise?
I'm just an idiot.
I am. Okay. Thank you, Mai.
And finally, God raises Moses to save them. And he takes them from Egypt, from out of slavery.
Any Bible readers out there? Is this story accurate?
Slavery. Parts the Red Sea, for crying out loud, right? Yeah. And they get to the other side and then they're walking in the wilderness. And you know what they say?
What?
I'd rather go back to being a slave because I knew I would be fed. Because I knew what it was like to be a slave.
Wow.
And in that moment, God was like, you only want to go back because it's what you knew.
Yeah.
And so what I was shown was I have to see a new vision ahead of me that makes me not want to go back.
Okay. Cult.
And a vision that you could create.
Yeah.
This is why envisioning and
Yeah, I feel uncomfy. It feels like, how can we make slavery about us? How can we make slavery a concept that we, on this white ass couch in this white ass home, about us? I know they're not talking about slavery in the American, frontier, but still, it makes me uncomfortable a little bit. To be like, I understand this story, specifically me. It's like, ooh, eek. Eek.
dreaming is actually super important. And I have a really hard time naturally dreaming because I am scared of not living up to my dream. Right. So I love what you just shared.
Yeah.
And I can relate. I had someone not too long ago. This was after anxiety, panic attacks landing me in the hospital. I knew, again, I knew God did not want me in the businesses I was in. They were amazing and it changed the world. It changed the women in the community. But I also knew
It helped other people tremendously and the entire world was saved, but God knew that I am better than all of those people who were helped, allegedly.
That I had to have a come to Jesus with myself and say, am I doing this for them or am I doing this for me? Am I serving? Am I building the kingdom of God or am I building the kingdom of Heidi? Oh, it's another thing I had a friend ask me. And if I'm being real with myself, I think it's easy for personal development people to say, oh, it's for the world. But if we really, really stop, I was doing it for my families. I needed to provide, right? So I was doing it to provide. And then of course there was like a dopamine hit as people their lives would be changed. And so it was like, okay, well, I
look at the truth, Heidi. Look in the mirror. Don't ignore that your ego is being, stroked very heavily by people going, you're my savior. We love you. You make no mistakes. It's not all about feeding your family. Come on. There's many, many ways to feed your family. You're choosing a very specific front and center star position, on stage. Own that a little. Come on.
Really doing like, what would building the kingdom of God look like? And if I know what the kingdom of God building looks like for me, and it looks like healing myself and focusing on my 4 kids. And I believe that while I don't know how that's going to impact the world, I feel like any impact to the world
it's actually a legal obligation, technically. So that's also a factor there.
Will be far greater.
Really a choice.
God gets to decide that. I don't get to decide that. It's going to be greater because I will show up as me and my kids will show up as me or as them. Love you. I know, Keira.
Why is she crying?
I don't know why that got me so hard, but it is so scary.
I know.
To be a single mom.
I know.
Yeah, 5 kids alone, that's tough.
And you just saying those words, it was like, that's the trust. Like, hey, God, I'm going to show up for my 5 kids and you better show up on the other side.
But also, again, like, you got a legal obligation to do it, so you ain't got no choice. Come on, girls, get together. You can't leave your kids, okay? So let's get that thought out of our heads. It is hard, I'm sure. It's incredibly difficult, but you got the kids, so you're in charge of that. Stay in control.
Because that is our most important role, is being a mom.
And he will. He will.
He will
I
what?
wasn't supposed to cry in this.
No, I
This wasn't the deal.
No, it was. Remember, we're doing this my way. And my way has you crying right now.
Because she's like, I'm going to care for my children. Oh, I never thought I should do that. I never would cross my mind.
But yeah, it is but I will say I knew that since June of 2022. And I didn't listen to God. I didn't listen to my intuition. I didn't listen to my inner knowing.
Okay, her inner knowing also said not to do this podcast repeatedly. And she didn't listen to that either. Just saying.
Fear, because I was like those people that left.
Yeah.
And every time I leave a little bit, I would start to be like, where's my food? And so I'd go back. And I can't tell you how many times I said, I'm not doing another challenge, or I'm not doing another nutrition education course, or I'm not, because the energy that it took from me and my kids.
Yeah.
The energy it took was real, and it gave to the world. And I don't regret any of it. I love it. It was true. Like, it fed my soul.
Yeah.
And I hate to even say
she backtracks so much. She wants to say so badly that she hated doing the challenges, but as soon as it leaves her lips, she backtracks and goes, it changed the world. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was amazing. I made no mistakes there, in case she wants to do it again. I feel like she just cannot say the truth of it. It's like, because like then it all looks like a sham. All the people who gave her a lot of money to be in those Facebook groups with her and Dave are going to be disappointed. So I feel like she wants to say the truth, that she hated it, but can't, because she's now stuck in this thing where it's like, well, now I look like an asshole if I say that. So it's like, well, why don't we just not even bring it up then? And Megan Goodall, thank you. Megan Goodell, I'm not sure. Let me know. Megan says, it was my birthday this week, so I'm buying a super chat. Oh, thank you. You're buying me a gift for your birthday? Thank you. That's the best gift of all. This is deliciously cringy. Love your lives. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Happy birthday. I hope you ate a lot of cake, and I hope that you sang happy birthday and everyone else also sang happy birthday to you. And also,
your girl is a bougie bitch.
I hope that's how you felt on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Also, here's a little tip for your B-Day.
What's the one thing that your optometrist doesn't want you to know about?
That was the wrong one. This is a little tip from your optometrist.
You do not need glasses.
Your birthday wish is my command. Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate it. All right. Wipe the tears off there, Keira. Let's go.
It fed parts of my ego because I knew, like, I had quantitative proof and evidence that I was making a difference and I was enough, right? And what am I enough if no one can see the benefit that I'm making in me and my kids? And then that's when I had to turn to God, right? And say, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I need to let go if people are going to think I'm crazy because I'm not going to work as much. And that's okay. It's okay if someone looks at me, a man looks at me and says, you're wasting your talents and your gifts by not showing up in the world. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay if someone...
Isn't that exactly what Keira told her? That you're wasting your gifts and humanity's worse off if you don't do this podcast? Isn't that exactly like word for word what she said? So she's saying that that's not what I care about anymore. I'm not going to listen to that voice anymore that says I'm not okay just being a mom. Let me hear that again.
Hey, if someone looks at me, a man looks at me and says, you're wasting your talents and your gifts by not showing up in the world. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
isn't that the whole thing of this podcast? Exactly. If you don't show up, you're like smiting God or something.
It's okay if someone says, how are you going to feed your family? I'm going to figure it out because I figure everything out. Right. But it was that fear. And the same went for my relationship. It was like every time I left, I was like, hold on. But I was fed over there and I was fed love. And wait, hold on. I didn't have enough self-love to not need it from an external source. And Dave was the greatest at loving me.
Yeah.
I've actually never, and I mean, I don't want to say I will never, because we have to be careful what we manifest. Up till that point in my life, up till now, I've never experienced somebody loving me as deeply and as well.
He created the pattern.
He did.
So now that anything after can't be less than.
He was deeply troubled.
I definitely.
He was deeply troubled, was coming out of a very long public relationship. I think that had something to do with it. I don't think that was probably a great example to follow the rest of your life. The chaos that, like, I think she equates love with sacrifice. He sacrificed flying to see her every weekend. He sacrificed time with his kids, it seemed like. He sacrificed looking like an idiot because he was on her Instagram stories all the time, saying crazy stuff, you know, whatever, making his brand look all weird. And that's what I think she thinks is love. Like that, it shows that he cares. He embarrassed himself for me. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I think something more stable, someone that's in your town would be a better try probably next time, I would say. As my uneducated opinion would say. Mandy, thank you, Mandy. Mandy says, Mandy Rarzan. I never know how to pronounce anyone's name. I apologize. But I know how to say Mandy. Mandy says, did y'all see how inappropriately far up her leg Heidi's hand was? If my own sister did that, I would freak out. Back off. That's my V. I didn't see that. I'm sort of interested to go back and see it. They've been touching each other for quite a while in this podcast. They were farther apart and then slowly have been getting closer together and have been grabbing each other's hands and stuff. I guess the emotional part is really kicking up into high gear. So I did not see that, but that is interesting. But if you did see it, you have this
poverty mindset.
This is how I didn't see this.
You can choose to stay blind.
And I will choose to stay blind to this. And also,
Nothing.
That's it. Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate that. All right, we're almost done, kind of. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
I'm aware of that now.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, anytime I was leaving it was like I would tell my life coach, I said, there's so much fear. I'm
life
fearful.
coach.
And she said something beautiful to me one day after she heard me over and over. She said, anytime you say I'm fearful or I'm scared, I want you to replace it with I'm lacking trust. And think of this in any area of your life. Like whether you've left and you're not being fed, you were a prisoner.
Yeah.
But you were being fed as a prisoner.
You knew.
Yes.
You knew it was crap, but you knew it was.
They're really like leaning into this slavery Bible story. Oh my gosh. You were fed. Stop complaining. I don't know. They're just like taking it to the extreme. Thank you, Josephine Henry. Thank you so much. Josephine Henry picked something. I can't see it. Hold on.
Was coming.
Yes. Yeah. But like, think about it. When we take that leap, and I mean, Dave's whole premise of his book was leaving the safe harbor, right? When we leave the safe harbor into those choppy waters,
should we be listening to Dave Hollis's self-help advice, given what we know now, Heidi? Really?
Scary. There's so much fear, right? But that word fear stops us. Yeah. But when we can identify that fear is a lack of trust, it's like a holy crap. Yeah. Hold on.
There it is.
I trust God. Not only do I, like, even if you're someone who's like, I don't know what I believe, if it's God, the universe, Mother Nature, higher source, it doesn't matter. Trust yourself.
Yeah. This is the final piece of that story. Is that God poured down manna every day for the children of Israel. But if they stuffed their pockets with the manna in fear that it wouldn't come the next day, it would spoil. Ooh. And so God told me, stop stuffing your pockets. Stop stuffing your pockets with manna, Keira. Ooh. I will always deliver. And that's it.
I love that.
It's just the trust.
It is.
It's the trust.
And I think it's super.
I don't need to know this. Like, this doesn't need to be recorded and sent to the universe. I think we're good. I'm deeply uncomfortable. I watched, the only reason I know the word manna is because there's a movie on Netflix, I believe. Well, yeah, that's how I heard about it, I think, for the first time, to be honest. Sorry. I'm not that educated. It was the woman from, she's very famous. She was in that one, Midsommar. Now she's got short hair. What's her name? Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh stars. And it's like Ireland or England in like the 1800s. And it was kind of like a spiritual scam going on where this little girl, they were saying, oh, God is feeding her manna from heaven. She doesn't eat. She hasn't eaten. And like people would pay money to come and see her because they thought that she was like supernatural or something. But in reality, it was that the mother was just like kissing her and feeding her. Like she was chewing up food and like giving it to her like through her mouth. I don't know. It was just weird. It was a weird movie. But they called it like, oh, she's getting fed manna. And they kept like reading the scripture and stuff. In the movie. So there you go. Great start. I should start a podcast. Just talk incessantly about movie plots. Anyways, yeah. Good movie. Don't know the name. Florence Pugh, Netflix. There you go. It was worth watching. I sort of ruined it. I'm sorry. Spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts in retrospect. My bad.
Gonna have to actually drink a little celery juice. Keep me going here.
That's how I feel right now. I need some celery juice. Stat. I need to get my energy up.
Super important to say.
Yeah.
Trusting God doesn't mean not putting in the effort.
Yes. Yes. This is
you
so big.
You still got to work.
You still got to show up and do it. You have to take action.
You have to take
You
actions.
can have a car that's filled with gas, But if you never actually pushed on the gas and drove it, God could fill your truck. It could fill it up with gas all day long. If you do not take action,
yes.
the car is not moving.
Yeah. And I want to be clear, even in me in this space where I'm saying I'm not working as much, what that means is instead of 10 businesses I'm running, I'm only running 5.
Right. I was like, can we clarify that you did not retire?
But what I did.
Can we talk about, other than this podcast, what business do you have? I'd like to know that.
That's not
But what I did do is I did what's the word?
A clean out.
Yeah. And I said, which things are energetically are requiring most of my energy, and what is the financial return? Because this is where I needed to start. I had to start understanding my books and what I was making. Okay, so what things are requiring less with a big financial return? Those are the only things.
Is this revolutionary? Once again, like, you should do more of what makes more money. She's an entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. She is leading the business to success. I think I should work on the things that are successful and make me money, as opposed to the things that are not. Amazing.
Things, because my energy must go to me and my children. So even if it means the big energy output that gave me the ego input, and I don't want to say ego, but like the Heidi, you're enough. Right?
It's ego.
I'm going to
sure.
have to make peace with that and wipe my hands of it and let it go away and get my enoughness from God, from myself, and from my kids. Right?
Right.
So that I can provide. So I still provide for my kids. Right? And so I think that's really important.
So I think her ex-husbands have money though too. I think they have some, I would imagine, hopefully. I think they provide as well. Just don't forget them. They do exist too.
What's the gift?
Well, okay.
I'm like dying.
It's for you.
Oh, it's for me? What? Oh my God.
I've had it for like 3 weeks.
Did you know that gifts are my love language? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
This is it. I'm yours forever. Heidi. Oh no. Okay, hold on.
I didn't
It's
wrap
gonna
it.
make too much noise.
Here,
if I
I'll
put
hold
it
it.
down.
I'll hold your. There we go. Check.
Wow, look at you
Check.
wrapping this.
I didn't wrap it. That was before my. That was when I had more helpers.
That's so great.
I'm scaling down.
She had gift wrappers. Heidi, I have like zero. I'm sorry. The respect level has dropped tremendously. She hasn't cooked a meal, washed a car, wrapped a gift in 18 years, so it seems. And now all of a sudden, oh, now I'm changed. It's like, okay. You had a great run of having an in-house staff that you conveniently forgot to mention in all of your motivational speeches here as to why is your life so chaotic from before. Like, you had a ton of help. Oh boy. Okay. She's in for it now. No wonder she's stressed.
Oh my God. I'm so excited right now. I love that we're doing it on the podcast.
I know. This was not planned. This was not planned at all.
Uh-huh.
I'm really excited about it.
Gosh, I'm so excited.
Do you know what this is? Did I tell you? Okay.
Get to it. My God. It's a mirror and a
It's
scale.
wrapped 1,000 times.
Hello, goddess.
Okay.
What does it say?
I have it on right now. It says, hold on, where is it? It says, everything I need is within me. And Keira, every single thing you need
Oh my God.
to create success. Not find
Cringe.
it. You've already created success, but everything you need to walk your path is within you.
This is so bizarro world. Yeah, Heidi, your initial gut reaction to not post this episode or any other episodes was the right one. I'm with you. I'm weirded out. I'm so weirded out. This is a private moment that doesn't need to be a podcast. Come on. Bestie, hit end stream. We don't need this.
This was actually the last gift Dave ever gave me. These two things. So it's Athena, the warrior goddess who fought next to Hercules. Not just next to him, but she fought. And then everything I need is within me. I mean, literally, the week before.
That's like a breakup gift. Oh, wait, the week before he died, he gave her this gift? Oh, that's ominous. Hold on. Let's see. Is that what she says here?
Everything I need is within me. I mean, literally, the week before he died.
Oh my gosh, Heidi, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi.
That's a very weird gift to give someone. So a week before he died, he gave her a necklace. Did he know he was going to die or something? Like, what is going on here? Because he was crying pretty heavily in his podcast. I don't want to believe that. That's rough. That's kind of does put like a weird little damper onto thinking it was like sort of just an accident. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but it's kind of ominous again, like I said.
And I hope everybody listening knows the truth.
Which is?
In that. It doesn't just go for me and Keira. It goes for you.
Yeah.
And I think the only way that we can really feel the power and the truth of that is through repetitions, right? Like a muscle. And it's through courageously starting over every time we're called to it. Like instead of looking at starting over or something ending as a death sentence, right? Like a sentence. Like, oh, this ended, that's a sentence that I have to serve again. No, you are being provided the most beautiful opportunity to start over from so much experience, more wisdom and love. At the ending of one thing is also, it's the beginning with compassion and empathy of another.
Like, let's get all the buzzwords in there before the end of this podcast. Compassion, empathy, integrity, love, power, Hercules, Athena. It's in you. God, my almighty. Moses, part Red Sea. Not teacher, just lover. You, my friend. Kiss, kiss in closet. That's been this podcast. You didn't have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Heidi.
You're welcome.
You know, I bought this book for you.
You did.
I never gave to you.
But you gave me crystals and cards.
I did.
And
I did give you lots of
them.
things.
My kids love them too.
I bought this book for you. Then I kept it. It's fine. I'll give you another one. But it's the story of a tree. It's a children's book. And it's a story of this tree. And there was 5 trees that were all together in a grove. And they all lost their leaves the first winter.
Okay.
Except for one. He held to his brown leaves so tight. He held them and he held them and he held them. And then the spring came and they all got new leaves and they all grew like 6 feet. And he stayed the same size. And he just held and he held and he held. And then it went another season and they all lost. And nope, I'm not letting go of my leaves. Until one day they were towering above him and all the birds were landing on them. And he was down below and he's like, what happened? And this one little bird came and said, if you drop your leaves, you will grow. And so he decided to finally drop his leaves.
My style.
And when he was bare is when he grew the most. And I read that book and I was like, this is me and Heidi's life.
This is me and Heidi's life. I think this means you guys, I keep saying you guys, I'm sorry. I think this means that they should shave their heads bald. I think that's the only way. They need to shed their leaves from the top of their head and they both should be bald together. And then that will be the sign. I think that's what God told me to tell them. Bald, the only way.
Paths and my paths, it's been how many times do I have to drop my leaves again? But every time we do, it's that start over, it's the growth.
Oh, Keira. It's how many times do we get to drop our leaves? You know? And
yes.
It is interesting because the times in my life where I've experienced the most growth and joy, I think that growth joy and peace, I'm going to throw in a third word.
I chose joy.
Were the times that I was bare. And I think bare for everybody looks different. Yeah. For me, you'll notice a theme. Bare for me is without a man.
It's a grizzly.
Because that has been part of my pattern. Right?
Mine's polar. Actually,
which
no,
is a
they're
sign.
both polar.
Like I need to be more bare. And bare without business, because those are the things that have defined me, my relationships,
business.
my businesses. And I think for everyone, it's going to be slightly different. Like, what are the things? What are
I'm bare without boy, bare without business, bare without bowling. Make me a missus. I'm on the market, baby. This is Heidi Powell's Hinge profile. Okay.
your leaves? This is a really great thing to kind of leave people with. Is just
This leaf story is a great thing to leave people with. Come on. That was the best thing you said all day. That was the best one. Hey, now I'm tuned in.
An invitation to pinpoint what some of your leaves are. Like, what are the things that you are holding on to? And those things, their identities and roles, and it's like security blankies
and beliefs.
Yes, that you don't want to, like, because those limiting beliefs,
get it?
They're going to hold you down.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's again, awareness is seeing this truth and being aware of it is totally different than doing something about it. So don't feel like once you see them, it means you have to right away shed yourself, shed all of the leaves at once.
Shed
it's a
yourself.
process.
Yeah. Shed your pants.
Be patient. And no matter what your process looks like, know that it is exactly what it's meant to be.
She's actively dating, probably.
And if you just focus on being 1% better or moving 1% toward the right direction, dropping a little bit of that leaf every single day.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You're going to experience growth.
That necklace, right? Like this of like, oh, I have everything I need within me.
Yeah.
So I can leave. I can let these leaves.
Don't go to Starbucks. That's not within you. You can't ever go again. It's not already inside you. You don't need it. Manna from God
because
only. Sorry.
Know that I have everything I need. Yeah. Wow. That's powerful.
Everything I leave.
Okay.
So I think this feels like the end of the first podcast.
So I want to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to hold this space for you to drop into your heart.
Okay.
And I want you to listen to what is the message you want to leave with them, that when they leave this episode with us, it's like it wraps them in the blanket. And
like, subscribe, follow, leave me a 5-star review, buy all my courses, kiss my ass.
You know, and I'm thinking now, and also anytime you guys are watching or listening to this, I would want to leave every podcast the way that I leave any conversation, right?
Saying goodbye.
I mean, I want
this.
this podcast. I want you being here.
That's how I
to
leave every
feel
conversation.
the same way I hope people feel when they're with me. I want and I mean, if anyone's ever been in my groups or been my friend, I hope this is the truth. I want everyone in my orbit to feel loved for exactly who they are, even the parts that they might be scared to show. Because I do see you.
You don't see me, Heidi. You're looking at a fucking camera screen of yourself. That's why I want to scream at every influencer. I love you guys. I love you. It's like you're looking at a real-time image of your own face. Who are you telling that to? It's not real. There's no vulnerability in saying I love you to someone you're not actually standing in front of. It's like that famous Notting Hill line. I'm just a boy I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love me. That is a vulnerable moment, and then being denied. That's the why vulnerability is what it is. It's vulnerable. You could be rejected. She has no possibility of being rejected by me because I'm not in front of her and she doesn't know me. So it's very, very simple to tell someone you don't see that you love them. And it's so stupid. It's losing all its meaning. I agree. It's parasocial bullshit, trying to get people to buy stuff, relationships. they're so empty, and we're just like not all of us, we're better than this. But you know that it continues on. No one calls it out and says that's not what love is, girlies. Okay. Anyways, Asari Shepherd, thank you so much. Asari Shepherd says, I don't want to see either shed their pants. Well, speak for yourself, okay? I would love to see some pants shedding, okay? Some shed in the pants.
I put out so much crap.
Speaking of,
peed my pants.
Also, I don't even know where my fart stuff is.
Ooh, shit.
Oh shit, there's shit on the pillow.
There you go. You get the gist. You get it. You get it, right? Okay, sorry. I was taking it too far. Or was it? Okay, sorry. Thank you, Shari. Sorry, Shepherd. Thank you. All right, we're almost there.
Heard, because I hear you.
You don't
and
hear
what
me.
You have to say matters and is so important.
You're literally speaking into a microphone, into a void with no feedback. So you can't see me, you can't hear me. So I'm not going to feel seen or heard by you.
This is a podcast. There's a part of me that wants this to transcend physics, right?
Yeah. Transcend
And
physics.
I want you to feel seen and heard here. And I want you to know that you're enough. I want you to know that exactly who you are and how you are in your evolution, whether you're just beginning or you're highly evolved, or whether you're starting over, or whether you're at the peak of something that you started a long time ago.
I'm highly evolved for sure.
I want you to feel and to know that you are enough. And I know my mom always said to me, she always said, you better leave everything you touch better than when you found it. And I think one of my greatest hopes for this is, in addition to my own healing, but I hope that everybody leaves here feeling better than when I met you.
I've never met you though.
There you go. So I see you. I love you. I hear you.
You don't.
And you're enough.
That's true.
Thanks for hanging out on my couch with me.
Oh my God, that was rough. That was hard. That was getting harder by the second for me to tolerate. My goodness gracious. Stay in your lane. I don't know what to feel. I don't know. That was all over the place. I don't think it's going to last. That was a lot of mental energy for me to listen to. I can't imagine for them to produce this emotional baggage and energy and all of it. That was a lot. Yeah. Keira, not my fave. She wasn't as bad as I was expecting, to be honest, but wasn't my fave. My thought was, let's just keep going down the Keira pipeline a little bit, see what she's got on YouTube. She's got 694 videos, so that's a lot. She's got 537. She's got more videos than she has subscribers, which is a rarity. That's not usually how it works. But, you know, hey, she's ordained by the Lord or something. So I started to watch one video where she talks, I didn't watch the whole thing, but she talks about losing one of her senses. I won't tell you which one. So we'll have to see if our girl Samantha can help out, or someone else is going to have to step in.
Don't need to speak to the deaf or show things to the blind.
But here it is. It's her giving a speech at aptly named a conference of some sort called the Woman Speak International Festival. So it coincides with the Mansplaining Conference. This is the Woman Speak trademark conference. Speak your truth, change the world. Here we go. I have not watched the whole thing. It looked a little interesting. It's called Awakening Your Divine Self by Moving Through Trauma. Posted in 2019. I love trauma. I love talking about trauma from people who, may have had trauma, who are going to now heal us from a stage. It's one of my favorite pastimes. So let's just see how it goes, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. This is before she went fully white on white on every video.
Hello, ladies. Hello.
Hi.
Well, I lost my sense of smell 4 years ago. It was like this total gift.
Isn't it funny, like, what self-help guru, like, what ailment they're going to come up with on these stages? I was told that I was too tall to run. What was Rachel's? My team put in the wrong journal order with our third-party vendor, and it changed my life. I lost my sense of smell, and it was a gift. It's always so random.
Because I had 2 children who had severe digestive issues. So I was like up to my elbows in poop, pretty much. And I was like, thank you for taking my smell. Thank you. And then there were these moments where it was just really sad because I would be making chocolate chip cookies for my kids. I couldn't smell them. And then I'd be putting lotion, the lavender lotion on my baby, and I couldn't smell him.
It was actually mayonnaise. She didn't know. She swapped the bottles on accident.
And I would hold my husband. I couldn't smell his skin. It was like really sad for me.
Sorry.
And then I got used to it. And I actually didn't even care anymore. And then like I would get, people would.
Is she an actress or what? She's crying and then she can like turn it off and go back to the speech now. Wow, she's pretty good.
Would get in my van.
Thanks, Greg.
I have a 12-seater. So I'm always taking people in the van. And they would get in and they'd be like, Keira, it kind of stinks in here. I know, I have teenage boys, I know. And I don't care because I don't have to smell it. So it's all good. And yet there was this deep level of sadness. Then one day I woke up and miraculously my sense of smell was restored.
No.
And I wept all day. I forgot what the trees smelled like. I kept being like, do you smell the trees? Like, is this what life smells like? How have I been living without this? And it was just this immense joy returned from this sense. And I believe that we all have a sense that has been a little numbed. A little.
Did you go to the doctor to get this figured out? Like why your olfactories aren't working for years and then why randomly it would come back? I'll be like, do I have a brain tumor or something? Like what's going on here? There's no like further inquisition, just like my kids pooped, so God said, okay, no more smelling for you.
Pushed down, and for some, just gone. And this is a sense of our divine self. I believe we are born with this divine self, this purpose that was just for us, this vision that was created for us. And somewhere along the path,
we stop smelling.
Pushed down. And I believe it's because we all experience trauma. Trauma is a part of life. Your trauma most likely doesn't look like my trauma, but trauma occurs. And when trauma occurs, we want to feel safe. We want to like hold in, right? Like if a bear was coming, you would like hold all your special organs. It's like the same experience, but
if a bear was coming, you would share, wait, what? You would share all of your organs? If a bear was coming. That's a weird way to say that.
Hold in, right? Like if a bear was coming, you would like hold all your special organs.
What's your most special organ? Put it in the comment below. What's your most special organ?
It's like the same experience, but with our divine self.
Huh?
And for me, it was when I was 5. When I was 5, I was sexually abused by my babysitter.
Oh, God.
And that experience impacted me so much that I had to hide my most precious self to like survive the trauma.
This is pretty
It was like really sad for me to like not have that peace.
I will say also, in my experience of going to these things with like speeches like this, they all end up here. And the people in the audience all talk about very, very triggering topics, like just with no warning. They go, this happened to me when I was 5. It's like, is this the time or place? Like, is this what this is about? I thought this was about like being a thought leader in your, sphere of excellence, talking about, whatever your career is. Why are we talking about, sexual abuse? Like, I'm not against, say whatever you want to say, like freedom of speech for sure, but like, I don't know. I just find it to be, is this relevant or helpful to what we're talking about? I guess in this case, but on a speech, on a stage, I just feel like it's like what's the word? Like trauma, like my trauma is really bad and I'm going to prove it to you right now, like by just blurting it out. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I just always feel like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I need to know this in the audience.
And so I started to numb. I was always busy, never, ever, ever stopping. And I thought I could outrun the pain. Like, I was like, I got this. I'm so much faster than this pain. It's never going to find me. But it did. The pain found me. And the day the pain found me, it was like a tidal wave slammed me to the ground. I could not even breathe. And I remember thinking, I have to end my life. This is the only way I can escape this level of pain, because running sure did not work, and there is no way I can live in this level of darkness. And that is when my divine self showed up.
So much.
She called out to God. I received help. And I made a deal with God, and I said, if I'm going to stay here, then you better show me why I'm here. And my life has never looked the same. Ever since I declared that I would live, it has never looked the same. So pain was my awakener. Pain is one of the greatest ways to awaken our divine self.
I don't think you should tell people that. Pain is the way to awaken yourself. Like, no, I think you can be awake without hurting yourself in any way. Also, they never go into detail. Like, what was the pain? You felt like you woke up and you were emotionally upset. You woke up and you had chest pains, and then God spoke to you, and then what? What did you do right after that? Like, I need more specifics, because I feel like there's a lot missing in this story so far.
Like, I know you don't want to hear that. You're like, I feel like there's a better way. And I don't think you're right, Keira. But before you say no, I want to tell you my favorite story. So I have a 9-year-old son. Actually, I have 5 children. I know.
It's like 1,000 kids.
I like to be busy, yeah? So I have 4 sons and 1 daughter. Like, alone time is like so rare. So I try and do these mom dates. It was my 9-year-old's mom date. So he's like, let's go to the art store. So we go in, and he picks this enormous Chinese dragon. And I find this goddess. And I'm so excited, and I've got the dark blues and the light blues and the golds, and I'm painting her just how I envisioned her to be. And then I finished. My son goes, you are not good at this. She looked like she was covered in mud. You couldn't tell where her hair began and her face started. And I was like, what happened? So I take her up to pay for her. And they're like, you got to leave her.
What are you talking about? What store is this? What are you painting? A sculpture or a painting or what? I'm confused. There was just a woman there and you painted her with brown dirt? I know that's not what she's saying, but I'm glad that this like theater, wherever this is, has Himalayan salt lamps. That really seals the deal in this.
I had to put her in the fire of the kiln.
Oh, okay. It was pottery. Okay.
So we leave our beautiful clay figures. His was gorgeous. And my son, was tugging on my sleeve 3 days later. We got to go back. We got to go get our figures. So we walk in. I open the door. And there she is, my goddess, exactly as how I envisioned her to become. The blues were so bold. The gold had softened and had created this just juicy, beautiful glitter.
Juicy goddess.
You see, the fire had refined my mess, had pulled forth her brilliance. And she was exactly how I had seen her in my mind. She was exactly how I had envisioned her. We are like this goddess. We come with these visions.
Burn yourself, and then you'll be prettier.
Of who we're supposed to become, of the work we are to do. But then life gets messy, and trauma happens. And we look and we're like, that is not what I'm supposed to be doing. This is not who I am. And that is where the pain comes in. The pain refines us. It restores us.
We're forged to the fire.
It awakens us. Now, I love to tell you that awakening is like this one-time thing, and then you're like, yeah, I did it. Right? No. This is something I've really struggled with, because every time a piece of me became awakened, I'd have to go through hell again. I'd have to go through the darkness and the pain. And one day, it was like a dark day. I was out front planting flowers. And I always am yelling at God. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why again? I paid my dues. I did my pain. And I'm taking this little tiny seed and I'm pushing her into the soil and I'm patting it. And then he shows me. The seed can't crack. It can't crack unless it's immersed in the darkness of the soil, and that is when it can open, and that is when it can climb up into the light to become that flower. And he showed me, this is why you have to go into the darkness. You have to go into the pain every time you become awakened.
Ma'am.
But I will tell you that every time I'm in that hell, I am never alone. For it is in that soil that I feel the divine love really nourishing me. That it is in the darkness that I feel the light. Now, I believe that when we put aside our divine self, it's as if we close our ears, we veil our hearts, and we go to sleep. But I believe that now is the time that we open our ears, we unwrap our hearts, and we awaken.
I'm The whole audience is like, oh, yeah. Whoa, yeah. I'm inspired. Okay. Yeah, that was pretty basic. I think that's pretty beginner level 1. Come to a self-help conference. You want to be a self-help speaker? Here, get on stage and say that. Say some symbols, trauma dump, shock factor. Say God's, picked me specifically and talks to me, and then you're good to go. So I want to see. Let's just go through her website. There was something on her about page of me. She's got courses. Okay, she's got Masterclass Spiritual Entrepreneur Course, Sacred Writing Accelerator. And she's got Working with Keira, Immersive Author Experience, Authentic Author Journey. But wasn't there a video? Another video that we didn't watch about her offerings? That's what I want to see. Let's just see. It says, discover why you were born. Well, I think your parents probably did it. That's probably why. Okay, let's see. Let's go to popular. Evening prayer, pain, activate the creator within. Alchemical meditation. A lot of meditations on this page. Write your book spiritually. What's this? Okay, this is just video of her. Do you feel the nudge in your soul to make a difference in this world? Nah. Not really. I was born to do this. Entrepreneurship. You were born for greatness. I was born to do this. She likes to say that a lot. Let's go back to popular. I like to watch videos of people like explaining their story. I don't like when it goes too much into detail. Meet the authors of Collaborations with the Divine. Okay, maybe we can hear from these people. Let's just see. Maybe there's some other characters we can, talk about in the future. Let's open our minds here. These are the authors that are divinely guided by.
All right, we're so excited.
God.
Today is the day. I am so excited that you all showed up today.
I guess her maiden name is Poulsen. Poulsen. That's her other name, I guess. Brinton. Unless Brinton is her new, I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? Okay, moving on.
Thank you for coming to this beautiful summit with these amazing new authors. I'm just so honored that you guys came to be with us today. So my name is
J.K.
Keira
Rowling, you're
Brinton.
there?
If you do not know me, I am the CEO of Freedom House Publishing Co., which is a publishing house for sacred stories, which
Okay, now it's called Joan of Arc, so it's changed.
means that we only publish sacred stories. And this book that we are talking about today is so powerfully sacred. And I'm so excited to share this with every one of you. So today, how it's going to go is we have about 3/4 of our authors. I'm looking through all of our authors here. We don't have a handful who couldn't come today. And so I just want to acknowledge them, even though they're not physically present. We are going to be talking about this book, our brand new book. This book is called Collaboration with the Divine, a Sacred Communion. It is 18 different women's stories of how they collaborate with the divine, who the divine is for them, how they hear the divine, how they co-create. And today we get to talk about these stories. We also get to talk about how it was to write this book in 4 weeks, because we wrote this book in 4 weeks, which is kind of crazy. And
So this is a grift that I came in contact with at an event that I was videographing at. And basically it's quite the scam. It's actually very unique, I think, or interesting. It's horrible, but it's an interesting scam. So basically, in this conference room of there's probably over 1,000 people, the guy on stage is like, I'm a best-selling author, blah, blah, blah. And I want to come here today because you guys out there are so smart. I know you all have a story to tell. I can feel it in my bones, whatever. And I want to take your story and put it in my book. And I'm going to have, so he was like a guru, business guru, right? He's like, my good friend, I forget his name, but he was on Shark Tank in the beginning and he got kicked off for doing scams. He was in the first season. He's a white guy. And he never came up again, but he was like a guest person that would come on and be a shark. And anyways, he's like, so this guy is going to do the forward of the book and his name is going to be on the front of the book as a co-author. And I want to bring in you guys to write, each of you are going to write a chapter in this book. And that was the pitch. Okay, so go to the back of the room and sign up to be a part of this project. It's only open for today. You cannot be in this book after tomorrow. And the book is going to be called like Inspirational Stories. And you can be on it and be a part of this project. Then you can sell this book when you go to speak and you'll be a published author. That's amazing. Okay, so you write literally a page of like probably, I don't know how many words it is, 500 words, like one page of this paperback book that has someone else's name on it, but it's got your name on the page. It was like $1,000 each page. So this guy's a 200-page book and is selling space in the book for you to tell your inspirational story for $1,000. That is quite the scam. And people were running to this sign up thing. And I was like, geez, that is a house that this guy apparently, unless that part was a scam too and he hired actors to be in there, I would not put it past him, grifted on this group of people at this conference. And this again, of course, is after hours and hours and hours of content saying like, you have an amazing voice, you have a story to tell, don't let people dampen your light, blah, 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 blah. You need to take massive action and spend money and invest in yourself. Then they give this offer. And then after that, they go, okay, now we got coaching and that. Yeah. So I wonder if that's what's going on here. She has a bunch of authors write a tiny little sliver, and now she gets to, sell the book to them, and they all have an obligation probably to buy 100 books to sell to their friends and family, and that's how she's making money. Maybe not, but that is a scam that is going on out there in the world.
To open up the space for everyone here to also ask questions, to ask any questions that you may have for these readers. I am going to send this recording out to everyone who showed up. Also, I wanted to put the link to our Amazon. So I'm just going to send that out. Claire, who's my beautiful publishing assistant, also my best friend and sister. She is here holding down this call. Claire, if you could get the link to this book and put it in the chat, that way anyone who's here can just click straight over to Amazon. I do want to acknowledge that all the proceeds from this book are going toward the Centers of Hope. So Centers of Hope are something that I am in creation of, which will be physical buildings to support individuals who struggle with suicide ideation. And all the proceeds are going to the creation, to the setup, everything that this is going to take to make these a reality. So go over, grab this. This is going to
seems sketchy.
Be the book that you are going to want like 10, and you're going to give this to your neighbors, you're going to give this to your moms, you're going to give this to your sisters. Like, these are the stories that aren't told anymore. I think a lot about even 50 years ago, how women would gather and they would quilt. They would gather and they would share their stories, and it's like a lost art. There's not a lot of places that women gather and share their stories anymore, especially like really sacred stories.
At happy hour, am I right? Wine book club. That's literally what a lot of women do, actually.
And that's what I see this book being, is this is like us gathering and bringing our sacred stories and sharing them. So I am so excited that you are all here. I'm so excited that this book is live today. And I want to just kind of open the space up to any of the authors. If there's something on anyone's heart about either this book or what your experience was with writing.
My therapist loves knitting. She's a knitter. She goes, knitting. I think she quilts also, but she's always going to knitting things and quilting things all the time, actually.
Reading this book, I would love for you to just unmute and share what might be present for you.
All right, here we go. This is what I want to see. Come on, ladies, share your hearts.
Does anyone have anything they might want to share just to start today off with? Yes, CC.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The whole experience has been magical, of course. But I have got to say, I just keep playing over and over in my mind how I just am in a state of anticipation of what magic this really is going to bring. Because, I mentioned in our group thing once, but when you called me to invite me to be one of the authors in the book, the week before, I had just received a message from my guides that from that moment forward, God was going to be guiding me using the numbers 222 in any type of sequence. And then when you call me, you're like, hey, Cece, I'm doing this book collaboration. It's for the Centers of Hope and and it's going to be released on 2/22/22. And everything after that, Keira was like, wah, 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 wah. I was like, oh my, and I got chills right now. But
these people get a lot of messages from the ether. I don't get no messages other than like hunger pangs. Why doesn't God and my guides contact me? I need help. I need things. What the heck?
I was like, oh my God. And that was the first thing after I had gotten that message that happened using 222. I mean, you see that all the time, but
honestly, if you want to be a salesperson, the best people to sell to are people like this, because you go, so what's your angel number? Oh, it's 222. And then you go, okay, change the price to $2,022 because this lady's going to buy it. I will find this woman and sell her something real quick.
That specific message. And it said from this moment forward, 222. And so I just cannot wait to see what this book is going to do in the world, because I know for sure it is magical, it is intentional, it is going to be life-changing and dynamic for people, including us. I don't know what it, for each of you guys, but I'm so thankful that you're always obedient to your guidance too. And I just wanted to share that because that just blows me away every time.
I love that. I love that. And that's really how this whole book started, right? Like, this has been such a magical experience for me. At the beginning of December, I think it was the first week of December, I was asking God, how do I raise money for these Centers of Hope? Like, this is going to take like millions of dollars. How do I begin even
Centers of Hope,
chipping away at such a large amount of money? And I saw a vision of a book. And I heard God say, put together a compilation book. And up to that point, I've never published a compilation book. I had no idea how to do it. I mean, bless your souls, y'all.
God said, put together a compilation book. Kind of like the Bible. Put that together to raise money. Centers of Hope. Where is she? Idaho? It says the Center of Hope provides opportunities for education, socialization, and participation in the activities that support wellness and recovery and behavioral health changes, including mental health and substance use. That seems to be like something with the state of Idaho. Department of Corrections. How does he spell her name? Keira? Keira. Brinton, but she changed her name since then. Don't see anything, so I guess it didn't happen. I guess God got that one wrong. Seems unlikely, but okay.
I got to watch me make a bazillion mistakes along this first compilation book, but really also not. We did this so fast. First week of December, I sent out the call. I heard God give me some names. I reached out to some of you individually. I felt you guys come in, and within 3 weeks, we had 18 authors. Within about 4 weeks, all of you wrote your chapters. So from the beginning of December to January 1st, we had 18 chapters written. 18 authors said yes. It gives me goosebumps right now because that's impossible. Literally, we did the impossible.
Well, God told me that he wants me to get $5 million from you. So I don't know. The message received. Everyone start paying, please. Thank you. God told me.
January 1st, and went to my editor, who, bless her soul, worked so hard. She edited our whole book in about 15 days, which was insane.
Why
we
the rush?
pulled this together, and this book is live not even 3 months later. We are at the 10-week marker of when this vision came to me. That right there
why the
just
rush?
shows like the power of God and what happens when we don't question, when we say yes, no matter what. And I really.
That sounds like, speaking of serial killer vibes, that sounds like a bad thing to tell someone that's not mentally stable. Say yes to God's, whatever his request is, no matter what. Like, no. Think through this logically, please, before you start just acting out on God's will. Please, for all of our sakes.
Honor each one of you because you showed up in the craziest time of year, December. I asked you to write a chapter in December. Y'all have like bazillions of kids. You all run businesses, and yet you all wrote your chapter in the busiest month of the year. I hope that stands as a witness that anything and everything is possible with God. And that is really what I got from this book. I read your guys' chapters in 4 days because I had to. It was like the most intense.
Why the rush? Do you need money? Are you paying somebody? Like, is your rent due? What's going on? Why? Like, I got the vision in December, and then I said, I must rush this through as fast as possible. Why?
4 days of my life because I was running business, raising 5 kids, reading 18 different chapters, also writing 4 chapters because I wrote 4 chapters in this book because I had seen that 22 chapters need to be in this book, right? So those were intense 4 days. In those 4 days,
that was an intense 4 days.
Was gifted to see how God has witnessed through every one of you, how he works with you, how your angels work with you, how the divine speaks to you. And that's what's so beautiful is that
I really think Heidi has just like she took on Dave's personality. You know, like, okay, she's going to be a self-help person now. She took on Chris's personality. She's going to be a fitness influencer. Now she's taking on this woman's personality is what it seems. Because, like, all of a sudden now Heidi's talking about God. And now I'm hearing this woman from a couple years ago talk about God in the same way. And she's guided and it's guided. It's like Heidi has just taken another person, absorbed their mannerisms, and is now that.
When we hear people say, yeah, God spoke to me. Yeah, I hear God. A lot of people are like, I don't know how you hear God. How do I hear God?
Mm-hmm.
And what's so rad is that every one of you hears differently. So my belief is that as people read this book,
how convenient. Everyone hears a different type of person that like actually reflects their personality and what goes on in their own brain and what they want to do. So weird. Yeah, interesting how that works.
They will begin to understand how they can hear the divine, how they can collaborate with the divine, because everybody's story illustrates a different way. So what I would love to do actually is I would love for each one of you as the author, we'll just start with who's first on my screen, which I've got, let's see who's first on my screen. I've got Mariah. Mariah, if you can just unmute, say your name, say where you're from, and then
I bet her name's gonna be Raya.
One of your favorite parts of writing this book.
Good morning. Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah.
Yep,
okay.
you can.
Good morning. My name is Mariah Slingerland, and I live in Encinitas, California. And my favorite part of writing this.
I wonder if she is woo-woo. I can't tell based on her background.
I'm going to send you so much love and so much light and so much good energy today because I feel like you need it.
I feel like you need it.
Am I the only hippie?
No, this lady is.
This book has been knowing that this was such a profound moment in all of our lives when we talk about it and we get the chills and we get the goosebumps. I call them the truth bumps because it's the divine reaching out to you and saying, yes, this is true. This is what is truth. This is where we're trying to get you to go. and it's the truth of this force greater than us. And when I sat down, and I think maybe 2 days before Keira had contacted me, I started to receive messages about this great work of our lives coming, that all of these people were coming together to write this great work of our lives. And I was thinking, okay, and I've tried to write a book for 5 years now, and all the pieces hadn't come together. So I did what Keira suggested. Before I went to bed, I just prayed and said, okay, if you want me to write this book, then tell me what is meant to be in it. And wake up, nothing, wake up, nothing. And then on the third day, Keira had contacted me, hey, you want to write this book? I'm like, yeah, I already received the messages. So then I continued that process. Show me what's meant. What do you want me to share about my journey with you in this book? What do you want me to share? So I'd go to bed, wake up, nothing. Go to bed, wake up, nothing. And then on the third day, it's
always the third
like
day.
the skies opened, and that all the information just started to come. And that's when you sit, you're connected to the divine, and you're just allowing that inspiration to come through you, through your heart, out your fingertips, and down if you write it or if you type it. And that's how my chapter came. It was like in the matter of an hour, I was done. And I was like, well, that's what co-creating with the divine is. It is easy. It is easy. There are no roadblocks when we're connected to the divine, our divine voice, what the divine is encouraging us to do. It is full of ease and grace. So that is how this whole thing, this is how the chapter came through me.
Wow. Right. Thank you.
The chapter's just like, I was born in Sedona, Arizona in 1974. I went to this school and learned about letters. Like, this message needs to reach the masses.
And I have to really acknowledge Mariah, because this vision of the book came to me that first week of December. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't really know. And I was on the phone with Mariah, and I don't even know why we were on the phone. I don't know if you had called, it was like, we don't even talk that much. And I'm on the phone, and God's like, tell Mariah about this book. And I'm like, I got this idea. And Mariah's like, I'm in. And as soon as Mariah said she was in, the book became real. And I was like, well, Mariah's in. All right, Mariah's in. And then it's like, from then on, it was just like full speed. And so I just really want to honor you, Mariah, for being the fertile ground that I could share this idea into, that really nourished this dream. So thank you. Thank you.
Ground.
Amy, I would love for you to share. You're next on my screen. Why don't you share a little bit about how was writing your chapter?
Awesome. My story is very similar to Mariah in that when I first, got the message that we were wanting us to write this chapter, I wasn't sure what I wanted to write on. I had a lot of ideas going through my head and kind of bounced some ideas off my family. And so I just prayed about it, and I did the same thing, put it up to God every night. And I kept getting crickets, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe it's the time of year. Maybe it's, I had lots of rackets and stuff going. But anyway, it was probably about 4 days in when I just got my message so loud and clear what I was supposed to share.
Right about.
And I had angels just speaking to me so loud. And so I just sat down. It was the middle of an afternoon. And I thought, you know what, this is the time to just sit and be still. I kept hearing the be still a lot. And so I just sat with it and I prayed, and it just came through. Just like Mariah said, it came through with ease. And I think I wrote for 2 hours until my hand just couldn't write anymore. And so I decided to take a break, and I could not wait to get back to it. So I took a break. probably had some tea or something and then came back to it and finished probably within, I would say maybe 4 hours total of just receiving. And it was so, so beautiful to just have that confirmation of the divine just sitting with me and listening, and with me listening. And it was just beautiful. And what an amazing experience. And I just have to say, in reading the chapters of everybody here, I'm just so filled with joy and love for all of you, and sharing all of your stories. It just fills me with so much joy, and I feel so honored to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. I feel the same. There's such an honor and gratitude for this group of women who showed up so vulnerably. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you, when the thoughts of doubt showed up, that you didn't push them away, that you actually kept showing up.
God said, don't do it anymore, but you're supposed to ignore that one because my vision said you're supposed to do it. Okay. I don't know, man. This is pretty similar to like what all of these events are like that I've noticed. It's a lot of women of this age that get suckered into these things, and I feel badly. And it's probably because they were parents or they're moms, that the kids are older now and now they're looking for something. And these types of people who have these offerings are, they can sniff it out like, oh, yeah, I just happened to be on the phone with this woman who I never talked to. And I just God told me in my ear to tell her that, she's the one to go for. Like, I feel like even if she's unaware of it, which I don't think is the case, I think she's very aware, Keira here. I think she's a skilled salesperson. I think she picks up on your insecurities and vulnerabilities and uses it to get what she wants. That's the type of person she seems like. And she uses God as the guise in which she is allowed to do whatever she feels at any given time. And isn't that convenient? Isn't that lovely? I wish I had that. Okay, let's listen to one more and then we'll call it a night. One more.
Yeah, and kept showing up because it always gets darker right before the light, as most of us know, right? So Amy, thank you for writing. I'm going to acknowledge Amy's from Colorado. I'm feeling like I want everyone to say where they're from because I want everyone who's listening to get that we are everywhere, right? Like this
Colorado,
isn't just one
California,
little pocket of the world. Like we are everywhere.
Arizona.
And we get to represent women everywhere and men everywhere and what's possible with God. So collaborating with the divine is so powerful. Liz, I'd love for you to share your experience writing. And where are you from?
Fabulous. So I'm Liz Stone and I'm from Tooele, Utah. It's just about 30 minutes out of Salt Lake, if you're familiar with that area. And I love that you brought up kind of pushing through the doubt, Keira, because I have been working on, like a few of you had mentioned, I've been working on writing my story or writing a book for years now. And when this opportunity came up, I knew I wanted to be part of it. I knew it was important, but I don't know if this will make sense, if this resonates with anyone, but there were entire words that I couldn't put down on paper. And I just wrestled with that. But there really is there's kind of this moment, right, where we have the opportunity, we have this inspiration, and we have this moment where we get to choose in. And I remember I was traveling to Arizona. There's a big show there. We were trying to get there for our business. And we were traveling. I'm thinking, how am I going to write this? And just little by little, kind of choosing in every day. Okay, I'll just do this. I'll just do this. It was New Year's Eve. And I was once again sitting on the bed in the hotel. And I said to my husband, I don't think I can press send. Like if I put this out there, it's out there. And I still had that going on for me. So my husband's wonderful and supportive. And he's like, Liz, you've done the work, let it go. And that phrase to me, just let it go. Like, so I released that and put it out. And he said, oh my gosh, come here. And I had no idea it was so close to midnight because I was so focused. And the fireworks were going off outside our window. And to me, that was just like the timing was so divine, because I feel like, you know, God was just saying, hey, we did this. Like, we did this. So it was a beautiful confirmation to me, but I got to wrestle and I got to choose in day after day.
Liz, I just really, I think I'm gonna get a little emotional. I just really honor the path you've taken to get where you are right now. Like, I mean, I remember reading your chapter and just like weeping of like what you've been through and who you are in the world. Like, Liz has a center for people who struggle with trauma. And for you to be this beacon for people who struggle, like, your story just so deeply impacted me. And I'm so grateful you pushed through and that you were able to have that magic.
I bet there's a biocharger in that center, quote unquote center. All right, I'm done. I'm bored. Keira's boring. The messages from God are too much for me. Too many God messages. I got enough of my own. God told me that you should subscribe and join the membership, and also watch every video I've ever posted, and also call 20,000 of your friends and have them subscribe to the channel. And also never say anything mean about me. Also never say anything rude and never criticize me. And he also said that you're okay, but I am the best. And it's not my fault. Nothing is my fault. Okay? And that is the truth that God told me. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'll be at a wedding this weekend, so I will be busy, but I'll be back next week, probably towards the end of the week. And again, still in the works. I just like to do my little announcements at the end. Still, the podcast is coming up. And I will say that one book I've been reading, I have not finished it yet, so it could go off the rails. But The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Freak is not all that bad. And if I am missing something, let me know, because so far I've been reading it, I'm like, I'm kind of down with this book a little bit. So if you have some evidence to the contrary, let me know. But I think we might start off the podcast of being skeptical about self-help books and be like, this one wasn't so bad, actually. But we'll see. I'm only like halfway through. So like I said, it could go bad. Trust me. Things get bad halfway through all the time. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was a stupid joke. Not even a joke. I'm tired.
Oh my God! Wow!
That's every time I get a message from God. That's what I say. All right. Let me sing my song. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And oh, look, Starry Nights. I know you from the membership. You're a pancake guy. You're a pancake person. And Tara was nowhere to be found. She's been fed and she doesn't care anymore. She's like, I got what I wanted. Now I'm leaving. I'm going to go find her and cuddle her. I promise. All right, everyone. Good night, and I'll see you in 1 second. Peace. All right, we'll go with this one. I didn't select one specifically for today. We'll go with this one. Yeehaw. Oh, look. We got a divinely called person. First up, Rebecca J. Kelly, an author from the telly. I saw her there and she said, hold up, I got something to say. God's telling me what to write right now, and I'm putting it on my cow. And I'm writing and I'll put it in the book. And Casual Pasta. How many times have you been to the farm, Casual Pasta? I've been once or twice, a couple times on school trips. But I love petting farms. Actually, every Christmas I go to a petting farm in the last couple Christmases to cut down a Christmas tree for the house. And they have a petting farm there, petting zoo. What do they call them these days? I don't know. Casual pasta, you been there? Let me know. And Rainy Cannon, thank you for joining. I know you were here. I appreciate you. And how's it been raining in that canyon of yours? Has it been sunny or drizzly? I also would like to know that answer. And baby Rupert's dad, Rupert Murdoch. Rupert, the guy who plays Ron Weasley. Those are the only Ruperts I know. But those are good Ruperts, so I feel like your baby is off to a good start in life. Dee Mega Doo once again. That is a funny soundbite from a different show that may not relate, but I will play it one day, and then everyone will understand. And Lillian Massey, thank you so much for being on this list. I appreciate you also. And Lillian is not reptilian, in case anyone was wondering. Lillian most likely is a mammal, and we love that for her. That's our favorite quality about Lillian. And Heather DeMayo is waiting for Cinco de Mayo because it is her holiday. Actually, it's based on her life as a tequila connoisseur. And she also enjoys a tortilla chip once in a while on only that day. So Heather DeMayo cannot celebrate until May. So we're waiting anxiously for her to have that moment. And Anne of Green Gables, Annie from New York, Daddy Warbucks. No, that's a different person. We just know Anne. Just simply Anne. There is no more details necessary, okay? Just trust her when she says, I'm the only Anne you're ever gonna need, baby. And Joms, you are so funny. It's like, Joms is like, shut up. You say that every time. Get something new. Get some new material. And I say, you know what? I just have to say it because I do see your comments come up all the time and it's so funny. White, what'd you say? Truth bums. Her pimples are white lies or something. It was funny. So, Joms, all I have to say is, Dana. That's what I think of, because I think of Jaws when I see your name pop up. So there you go. And Lisa 333, that is your angel number. Every time you hear it, you know that whatever they're selling, you should buy it, and that will change your life. Amen. Heather Hope. Heather, come on. I was gonna say Heather Nope, but I say that every single time. Also, you can tell I'm running dry. My brain needs some turkey to survive. I had some strawberry shortcake before the show, and I didn't eat dinner. True story. I saw a hawk outside, and it caught me off guard, and then I just stood in the backyard for a while instead of eating. More sustainable mana. El Cholo's kid. Oh, Taro's over here. El Cholo's kid. Taro must have heard your name and came running. She's trying to come up and say hi. She's probably hungry again, this little munchkin. Yeah. Not Jenna Cash. Don't charge back. Do you got cash or card? And Not Jenna Cash is like, I'm a cash girl. I got dollar bills, y'all. And then she said, but actually I have coins. It's gonna take 6 hours to pay you out. And everyone's just like, ugh. All right, let's begin. And then it begins. That's how I view life. It's just one person paying in nickels to another person getting paid in minimum wage. You know? And Starry Nights. Oh, Starry nights, where would the nights be without the stars there to guide us to our destination? That is in our homes, most likely, where we can't see the stars, ironically. There should be, well, I guess people would climb on the roof to see inside your home, but shouldn't there be like homes with like the full ceiling open? Like a sunroof on a car but in a house? Someone get on that. I'll buy it. And then they're also solar and they're also reflective so you can't climb up on the roof and see. Why is that not a thing? Someone figure that out. Okay, Lindsay Walden. Lindsay Walden, please come to the principal's office. You are being sent home early because you have an orthodontist appointment. I bet that did happen one day in your school, huh? Unless you were homeschooled, then it was just your parents saying it. Lindsay Walden, come to your parents' bedroom. We need to take you to the orthodontist. Relatable. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, one more. We got one more round, everybody. Tiffany? Tiffany. I bet everyone's like, oh, do you have breakfast at your house? Do you eat breakfast at your house, Tiffany? Get it? Get it? Breakfast at Tiffany's? We should have breakfast at your house. And they laugh. And they laugh. Keira Soto. Keira. Keira is a caring Soto. She will always Keira Mora than Yua. And that's a fact. 100% guarantee. Crystal G. Crystal G doesn't know me, but she does love crystals, especially the ones that are purple and cost $400 at the store. I still love those stores, and now I feel like I resent them, so I don't go in, but I used to love a good metaphysical store. All the candles and the crystals and the stones. You put the little stones in like a little velvet bag and you just hold it in your room. Yeah, that was me back in the day. Now I just walk by and go, ha! Suckers. And Alaska Blood Tundra. Alaska Blood Tundra, it must be getting dark in Alaska Blood Tundra up there. It must be getting to that time of the year where you ain't seeing the sun. And that's sad because you can never heal your eyesight. I guess all the people in Alaska go blind for 9 months out of the year, according to these wellness gurus. Let me know how that's going. Chels Marie, I have to say to you, what about the Nina and the Pinta? Wasn't there a Marie? Or no? Am I making that up? I felt like that was going somewhere, and then it ironically found its way off course. Much like Christopher Columbus, who was trying to find Asia, apparently, and landed in the Bahamas, and now somehow is the king of America. I don't know. I went to Canadian school for a little bit too, so I feel like I missed some history. But I do know that there's a place called Alberta and Regina. Hey, Consul, you ever been to Regina? I don't know what province or territory it's in, I forget. Maybe it is a province or a territory. I actually don't know. I guess when I went to Canadian school, I didn't learn that much. I should have went for longer. But then I just basically missed American school in all the lessons, and then, yeah, you get what I'm saying. Am I right? Am I right? Nicole Campbell, basically you are Campbell noodle soup. Chicken soup for the soul. Jack Canfield and you are basically simpatico. And I think that's important to today's stream. So go back and watch and listen and heed the warning, heed the advice that Heidi has given you via Jack Canfield, and I think it will resonate. And finally, Cheech. Cheech! Cheech, Cheech, Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong all night long. Cheech, Cheech. That's like screech, but with a C. Chicka, 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 Cheech. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Toodaloo. Oh yeah, Christopher Columbus thought manatees were ugly mermaids. And we all know that manatees are the best. Good night.